opening round may be behind us, but there is still a lot to be talked about as the riders are about set to drop the gate tonight in Houston. Hello again, everyone. I'm Kellen Brauer, and welcome to MotoOption Supercross and MXSEMF North America Series. Tonight we're going to be bringing you almost 3 hours of live coverage here on SYS TV, so be sure not to touch that dial. We're going to have a lot of things coming your way tonight. And we're going to start off by kind of covering a little bit about some of the storylines with our Versus PC pre-race report. The biggest storyline from the opener last weekend was, of course, the race winners. Jeremy Seebold taking the win in the 450 class, and Russ Chapman taking the win in the 250 class. Now, both riders have won races in their respective classes before, and Seebold is a two-time 250 Supercross champion, but we've never seen these riders in this particular position of actually in the championship lead in these classes before, and we're going to look to see how they handle that pressure of having the red plate and see if anybody else can take it to them at this next round in Houston. And speaking of Houston, we've jumped right out of California and headed all the way out to Houston for round 2. That means we're in a football stadium this week as opposed to a baseball stadium last week for the opener. That changes the dynamic a little bit, mainly because the track fits into the stadium a lot differently as opposed to what we saw at a baseball stadium. There's going to be a lot more 180 bowl corners tonight, longer rhythm lanes, longer whoop sections, and generally higher speeds on the track as opposed to last week where we saw a lot more sweepers, 90-degree corners, tighter sections pinned together, and really just a longer lap time as a whole, but shorter sections compared to these longer sections we're going to see this week. So we're going to looking forward to see how that changes the dynamic of the racing that we see on hand and on the track tonight, and how it develops through the night as well. And lastly, of course, we have to talk about Erode again. The opener featured a lot of changing dynamics with the Erode. They ran with the 1.5 setting during the 450 main as opposed to the 1 Erode setting during the 250 main. That of course made ruts deeper, whoops more cupped out, and that's going to change the dynamic of the racing here because it sounds like they're going to stick with that 1.5 setting for not only the 450 class but the 250 class as well. So these guys are going to have to change their approach a little bit as opposed to what they saw last week. With the speeds higher and the bowl corners being mixed in, I think the ruts are going to get deeper, the track is going to change more, the lap times will also be a little bit shorter so they're going to ride more, and in general the Erode I think is going to affect the racing a lot more tonight. So we're looking forward to an exciting night of racing here at SYS, and right behind me we're about to get things kicked off, but before that we're going to send it to a quick commercial break, so stay tuned, we'll be right back with more MotoOption Supercross right here on SYS TV. MotoOption Supercross on SYS TV is proudly presented by Versus PC. Looking to upgrade your PC? Want a PC built? Head over to versuspc.com and look at all the many ways that you can upgrade your computer today. Welcome everybody to round number 2 of the MotoOption Supercross Series, live here on Star Systems TV. My name is Kellen Brauer, and I'm happy to be joined tonight by the one, the only Chris Riesenberg here at Houston. What is going on tonight, Chris?
I'm excited to be here from the beginning tonight instead of coming in late for the main event.
Well, that's a good note for us because there's going to be more of you talking and less of me talking, which it sounded like people enjoyed the duality last week. I got comments on the YouTube channel saying, "Get somebody else in the booth. You're boring." Blah, blah, blah. So let's bring the action tonight.
All by yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of comments on the track already. I was tuned in during qualifying as well as I know you were talking to some people, and it seems like fast is the word that I'm getting a lot of in the tricky first rhythm section.
Yeah, fast is very right. And speaking of fast, it looks like now that qualifying has come to a close, we are now officially listing Alexis Leclerc as your fastest 450 qualifier here tonight. And it seems to be the resurgence of Leclerc, Chris, of 52.1. He dipped well into the 52s, which only a handful of riders were able to get that low. It's exciting to see Leclerc back and battling with these guys, but the speed just hasn't gone away, has it?
No, I always love having him out there. He brings so much excitement to the series because there's drama involved, because not everyone loves Alexis Leclerc. I love it because of that. He brings the action, and he brings some serious speed. My question mark with him is there's a huge run into two whoop sections tonight. One's pretty short. I think he'll be okay. How will he handle the longer one? Can he consistently get through those things? That has been a difficult thing for Alexis Leclerc throughout his MX Simulator career.
And that's a very good point about consistency, because this track being very fast, I feel like these guys kind of learned it at a qualifying pace, and now it seems like they're going to have to tone it back a little bit, get themselves ready for the road to kick in, slow down a little bit, not do some of the big lines that they were doing in qualifying. And I feel like that alone might affect the consistency that we'll see out of these guys just coming into the heat races.
Absolutely, and then of course the track starting to change. It's going to make some of these lines more difficult as the night goes on. And if you make a mistake with lap times being so close, a little bit easier track, a lot of speed, it's going to be hard to make up time. A crash is going to be really, really costly tonight.
Right. Well, it looks like we have a successful, not quite actually successful UID grab. We haven't got the UID grab done just yet, but that will be coming. While we are waiting for the UIDs to be grabbed, let's go ahead and jump over and talk about the 250 West class real quick, which your current points leader, opening round winner Russ Chapman, was your fastest qualifier again tonight. He was fastest qualifier last week. Tonight, a little bit more impressive. He is 0.8 up on second place, laying down a 54.6, the only 250 runner into the 54s. Jake Rose behind him on a 55.2. It looks like Rush is going to be kind of an unstoppable force at this round, just like he was at Anaheim.
I think it's going to come down to the start. If he doesn't get the start, how does he deal with the pressure of being in the pack, having to come through? A lot of guys close in speed. Does he get impatient, or is he able to rely on that speed to take his time, pick his way through the pack, salvage points, maybe settle for a second or a third, maybe not just go for the win every race? I've never seen that patience from Russ Chapman. We'll see if this year is any different.
Yeah, that patience has been kind of a talking point about Chapman for a while. We've seen videos of his rage levels before, but he did seem like a bit more of a patient rider last week. He didn't get the start. He kind of waited for the race to come to him and eventually was able to pick up that win at the opener. Now, switching back to the 450s and talking about winners at the opener, we're looking down the field to 10th for your A1 450 class winner, Jeremy Seabolt. Now, again, this track is very fast. These guys all got it dialed pretty quickly, and Seabolt wasn't terribly far off the pace. I mean, he was less than a second behind Leclerc. Everybody seems to be within about the 52 to 53 second range within inside of the top 25. Do you see Seabolt repeating tonight? Does he have a chance? Is it going to be these fast guys stepping up on this quicker track? Where's your mindset on Seabolt, Chris?
I mean, obviously there's a deep field, but we can't deny last week at Anaheim, you might as well call him Henson, because he came in clutch and he was so solid throughout the night. I'm not worried about the qualifying time. What I am worried about is it's a deep field. Can he do the same thing as Russ Chapman? Settle for a second or a third? I think Seabolt's a little bit more experienced, and I expect him to be absolutely fine, and I see him making less mistakes throughout the night than even an Alexis Leclerc, and I think that'll benefit him. I think we'll see Siebel on the podium. Maybe not the top step, but I do see him on the podium tonight still, not worried at all about that qualifying time.
All right, so we'll look for Siebel to potentially hang on to that red plate, but there are a myriad of guys that can step up and challenge him. Obviously, we've already spoke on Leclerc a little bit. And now looking back further on the qualifying list, we've got Colton Mitchell, who is coming back from an injury that we heard about, and it's amazing that he's even able to hold a controller, much less play at the level he's at. Second fastest qualifier, and then kind of the storyline that I think people really want to follow is MX Simulator's sort of unsung hero, Jeremy Smith, is back this week. It sounds like he was racing in the Dominican Republic in real life last week, so that's why he was not at Anaheim. But he's here this week, and who knows, can we see JS4 come out blazing like he always does? He's won the Anaheim opener twice. He wasn't there last week, but I mean, this is kind of his season opener. Do we see JS4 as a potential winner tonight?
Well, if you talk about one guy that makes very few mistakes, it's him. If he gets the start, I don't see anyone catching him. A tricky start here, going right into a rhythm section that you don't do the main line that these guys will be doing during the race on that start. A lot of opportunities for guys to get landed on. I think it all comes down to the start for Jeremy Smith. If he starts top 3, I think he's the guy to beat, to be honest, because he is so solid. He does not struggle with consistency at all. That's his game, and no one does it better than Jeremy Smith.
Absolutely, and you actually hit something on another thing that I wanted to talk about with you tonight. The track design this week, I feel like, has opened up more options for variance in rhythm lanes, where we're seeing guys either doubling or tripling into sections, and they end up about the same by the end of the section. Do you think that's going to play into these guys' mindsets tonight a little bit? Some guys maybe aren't going to send the big line because other guys aren't in front of them. Are we still going to see guys sending it anyway? I mean, where does that play into the mindset of these guys going in with these rhythm lanes, kind of changing it up a little bit?
I think the level's so high that they have to send it every lap to try to win. But I think what we will see is guys clipping jumps and such, and then you carry a rhythm section and then go across the start straight. So if you get a better run and don't clip a jump and someone else does, it allows you to set up a pass at super high speed into a bull turn. I think we're going to see more cheap T-bones served up than the Golden Corral tonight in these corners.
That's a very good point. It's almost, I feel like we're going to see more people laying in the sand section tonight because they got teed up over a berm next to it rather than the sand actually took them down, which the sand itself, kind of another talking point with the road coming into it. I know you guys at the MXSEMF track crews put in a lot of work to get the road settings where you want it. Sand is kind of the first test of some different traction levels, I feel like, where we're going to see these guys go from something they know and has been consistent to sticky and deeper ruts. I mean, do you think that we'll see lines developing through the night there, or is it going to be kind of one line through there?
I think it's going to get deep in the main events, and you'll have to try to find another line. I think it's going to be super, super sketchy by the end of the main event. And we're honestly a little concerned about it on the track crew side of things. The sand definitely gets deep a lot faster than the rest of the track. It'll be a learning experience. We're going to watch it and see, and then, of course, make adjustments as needed moving forward. But the riders, they're going to have to adapt as the race goes on. And, again, falling down, getting caught in a pile up there, avoiding downed riders with deep ruts to try to avoid or get in and out of is going to be really, really difficult for these guys, I think.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like we are loading things in tonight for our first race of the night, which this is just a parade lap currently. But this is the 450, 250 combined Consolation Race, which has sort of been a new addition to the pro side of things this year, where there is nothing on the line for these guys. Normally in a Consolation Race, typically outdoors, we see this being like a last chance qualifier, guys trying to get their way into the races one last time. None of these guys will be making the Fast 40, and it's really just for bragging rights at this point. Everybody in this race has not made it into the night show, and they're just out here having a little bit of fun.
Wow, and if this is the lineup on the starting line, I saw Brian Haskell, who was a top 10 finisher last week, in the field. That's a heartbreaker for Haskell to not be in the main event or even in the heat races.
Right. Yeah, I think that there's going to be a little bit of frustration in the SYS camp tonight, but let's put that aside for now and have a little bit of fun with these guys as they set out on the first race of the night. JLV is going to turn that board sideways and moonwalk his way off the track. We're set to go for the consolation race here. Sit back and enjoy some action at Houston. Ooh, that's a good jump from a Suzuki out of the middle, but it's actually Daniel Batchelor with the whole shot, and then everybody hits him, and they go down together. So Jack Zars comes out with the early lead. Stack-ups everywhere. It's already kicking off, and we're only half a lap into the first race of the night.
Absolutely. Heeg's out there in the number 2 spot. Logan Heagney on the 130 trying to give chase to Jack Zars. Ethan Triptez Parks runs in the 3 spot. It's a bragging rights race, and just to have a little bit of fun at this point for these guys. A lot of them probably pretty frustrated, so who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's a good point because, you know, as mentioned, there's some guys like Brian Haskell, for example, who were top 10 finishers last week, and they're not even in the night show tonight. So frustration boils over. This may be the punt fest race, if anything, which I guess adds entertainment, so why not? But these guys are definitely in race mode, it seems, as they're going at it over the triple. We got Ethan Parks getting hounded by Logan Heagney. And already pulling away a little bit out front is Zars.
I'm trying to see what lines these guys are running down that first rhythm.
Zars stuck in the corner.
All of the guys pretty much just struggling to get down it at this point.
Man, this is chaos already, and I believe that I'm right in saying this, but the consolation race is on a road settings, right? So we're seeing these guys run.
It should be. I'm waiting to really see it. It might be turned down pretty low. I'm waiting.
The heat races last week were on 2, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's where we ended up running, because the consolation last week was on 4. It dug in really deep, so they lowered it to 2. And then into the main events, I think it went down to 1.
We did 1.5 for the 450 main, 1 for the 250 main last week. So.
And if I'm correct in saying this, they're going to stick with that 1.5 for both classes this week into the mains?
From what I understand, again, I'm kind of on the outside looking in at this point in the series, so yeah, I can't confirm that for sure, but it sounds like that 1.5 number is the number that we're going to go for, at least for the main events.
Taking a look at Maxime Tassone here, MXSEMF admin, has worked together with his co-mate there, Johan Mayer, to put together this awesome series this year for us. A lot of work behind the scenes with that, and going down here in the consi, getting passed by Brian Haskell.
So what's the mentality for these guys, do you think? Is it to go out and prove that, hey, I should have been in? Or is it very relaxed? What's the mentality for these guys?
I think it's either the first one or just outright frustration that they're not in. I think you'll see guys that aren't doing so well in this race are just mad that they're not in the main race, and that's why the level of performance is down. And then some guys you'll see just kind of turn that switch off and just think, whatever, I missed out, might as well make the most of this opportunity. And that's why some of these guys are running up front. I think it's a mix.
For sure. Looking at a road is starting to develop. The sand really not getting that gnarly just yet.
Yeah, everything looks to be honestly not getting too deep. I'm seeing the bowl corners because everybody's taking roughly the same line in them, kind of dig in a line already. But everything else seems to be pretty stagnant. Now, you would know this more than I would, but given that, you know, Houston, Dallas, they seem to be a little bit more hard packed surfaces in real life than, say, in Anaheim. Did you guys put that in factor and maybe change the road settings for the terrain to make it a little bit stiffer, a little bit harder to break down?
Not because of that. We have changed settings just a little bit, trying to make it a little more visible for the riders. Also on the lighting and decal side of things, but not yet as far as dirt type, because we're still trying to just get a setting that we feel is really good for racing. And I mean, I don't think we're far off. I think it worked fairly well at Anaheim 1, especially come main event time. But right now, no, not to that level. It hasn't evolved that far just yet.
Right. Well, I know you guys put in a lot of time to make the ruts dig in a little bit better, to be able to see them a little bit better. And so far, I think that's working for the corners. I think we're not seeing much of the breaking down happening in the whoops, especially like they were last week at Anaheim. The whoops in the heat races, really kind of got chewed up, cupped out, and we're not seeing that too much, but in the corners it's definitely noticeable.
Right, one thing I know that I talked to Stefan earlier that he did do is there's a little bit of buildup where last week it was only digging down. He added a little buildup just in the corners to allow it to be a little more visible in the corners. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. It should maybe allow it to get actually a little bit rougher and a little more braking bumps and such as well.
Yeah, we'll see those braking bumps really, I feel like, developing on some of those hard braking zones coming across the start straight like your race leader Ethan Parks is right now.
Also, where they're wheeling that bump going into the first rhythm section, I'm curious on how that'll develop. Will it make it easier or harder as the road starts to form? Will it knock down that little roller and make it easier, or will it knock down the face they're taking off on, making it more difficult? We're going to have to wait and see. I think the whoops is a speed thing more than anything. You're just coming in so fast that you're barely hitting the tops of them, for versus trying to accelerate through them like in Anaheim where you're kind of hitting the front of them versus the top.
That's very true, but I am curious to see, given the speed that these guys are carrying into the whoops this week, if and when it starts to break down a little bit, just how many guys are going to go down really hard because they get one little notch wrong and they're carrying so much speed that there's not much room for error. Unlike,
Absolutely.
like you said last week, slower speeds in the whoops, kind of pushing into it a little bit more. You could adjust for that road.
Yeah, just catch a little side and they'll swap that back end out. And once you start swapping, you're pretty much done. So far, none of that going on for your leader, Ethan Parks. Nice 13-second gap out here on the 64 as he makes a mistake, though. But Higney up the hay bale is going to give up second to Thomas Sillick.
I also wonder in, like Parks' case here, or just anybody that wins this consolation race, if they win and they think like yes, or if they think like, damn it, look at how good I could have done in the actual races tonight, like it's almost like a bittersweet victory even if you do win this race.
Right, and I do assume that a lot of these guys will probably log their time faster than what they did in qualifying during this race, and it would have probably put them in as they get a little more time on the track and maybe more of a clear track. But at least they're getting out and getting a gate drop in. They spend the night here to do some racing. They at least get a gate drop in. For some of the newer guys, get some experience, if nothing else.
Right. Well, I mean, I think what's crazy is that, we're seeing only 450 guys on the track for this, and that's because every 250 guy that ran a lap tonight made it into the race, including the guy in last in the 250 class that was more than, 150% off the pace of the front guy. This 450 class is deep this year. I mean, from first to the last absolute qualifier in the 450 class was 7 seconds. And from first to the cutoff time, I believe was only 3 seconds. So these guys are really talented regardless, and I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see, as the series goes on in the West realm, we're going to see a little bit more of the guys dropping down and racing 250 West because they know they can make it because of how fast they are on a 450.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume a lot of them might wait until 250 East starts and then try to drop into that class so they can compete for a championship. I mean, everyone that's signing up and racing this 450 class is pretty dang good, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no shortage of talent in the 450 class this year, which, I mean, from our standpoint, that's pretty good because 450 class being the premier class, you kind of want to see the best of the best squaring off, but it really is kind of left an open void in the 250 class for more and more guys to get in that maybe wouldn't if there was more guys racing that class.
Absolutely. It is definitely crazy looking at the number of two-digit guys in this race that didn't even make the Fast 40. Shows you just how challenging the competition is.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think MXSEMF adopted many of the RF rules when it came to dropping down, right? Like most of these guys, despite some of them being past race winners or champions, could still race the 250 class, right?
From what I understand, they didn't have the point out rule, but again, I'm fairly disconnected. So
yeah,
that is what I understand, though, is they didn't put the point out rule in effect.
I just wonder if maybe we'll see it a little bit more next week of the variation between 250 class and 450 class. Either way, this consolation race is about to be in the books, and it was damn near dominated wire to wire by R-Force 8's Ethan Parks, who's coming out of the final corner right now, and at least he can put one smile on his face from tonight because he is your consolation race winner.
So the battle for second's going to go to the line. Brian Haskell going to take it for now. He's got Thomas Sillick all over his back wheel.
Yeah, this is a good battle. Sillick was sending it in the whoops. Now it's who's going to get the rhythm section the best. Oh, Haskell up and over the bars. Sillick sends the quad, and he's down too. So maybe Zach Dupuis will get here, but Haskell's trying to get going too. And now Sillick's just getting up from his crash. But Haskell's going to go through.
For the quad, or Dupuis, sorry, makes the quad. Haskell goes the inside.
So Haskell is going to just hang on over Sillick. Dupuis just misses out too. That was a good battle of the line between all those guys. Dupuis ends up backwards on the track.
Higney and Maxime Tyson dicing it out now.
Ooh,
down the rhythm.
Nelly.
Tyson gets sideways, gets into Higney, and goes down.
Oh, Higney. Is he saying sorry in chat or just waiting for him?
Gat.
And yeah, Gatland is going to get the spot from Higney. Yeah, well, Cuts definitely gave it to him if it didn't happen that way. Oh, that was actually kind of an exciting consolation race for those guys. At the very least, they got to have one good race tonight, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely were going for it just like a normal race, which is cool to see. Like I said, we didn't know really the mindset that they have going into that, but looks like they definitely cared.
No question about it. Well, that is going to do it for the non-exciting actual matters bit of the broadcast tonight, and it's time to jump into the real fun stuff, which is qualifying to make it into tonight's main events here in Houston. First up, we're going to have 250 heat number 1. Those guys are going to be lining up right now, and this is, again, the West Division, which we saw have their opener last week at Anaheim.
On the gate, we have Josh Mertens, Jordan Moxey, Robert Wilson, Chase Donovan, Sean Klein, Brandon Hedge, Damon Tavella, Jonathan Hughes, Colby Eagland, Isaiah Dickerson, Brandon Cummings, Reese Harris, Joey Nielsen, Jake Warden, Jack Fowler, Stefan Guido, Rush Chapman, Gustavo Deniz, Mikhail Ming Woodley, Craig Leake. Round out your field. So, of course, we're going to keep an eye on Rush Chapman on that iLab machine, rocking the red plate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was warned earlier tonight in chat that apparently Chapman's 250F may be referencing Alexis Leclerc's 450 somehow. So I apologize if Chapman has some sort of skin issue, but I did download his stuff, so hopefully that works. I'm still loading in, though. The joys of having...
The gate is down, so I'm going to call the action while you're loading in.
In the heat race, or is it still the parade lap?
Oh, they do warm-up laps. Then never mind. We're good.
You're scaring me, Chris.
Sorry, bro. I don't remember. I wasn't here last week for anything except the main event. So
let me see. I want to see if I can find Chapman and see if his stuff is messed up.
He is P9.
9. Yep. Yeah, his bike is all screwed up. Well, at least I can see his gear. Interesting. That's what happens when you improperly save PNGs to JMs in this game, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he'll stand out, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a weird mix, that's for sure. It's a mostly stock-looking, just black machine. Well, here we go. 250 Heat 1 lining up behind the gate right now. Chris gave you that lovely rundown of riders, and I'm going to take a look at someone right in the middle. We will take a look at, well, why not?
Rush Chapman, right?
Yeah, Rush Chapman. Next to the box, the board is sideways, the revs are up, and the gate is down here in Houston. And Chapman gets a good start, Leak a better one, and he gets put to the ground from behind, and it's actually Sean Klein with the whole shot. The number 10 Evergood machine out front. Guys scattering around behind him, already a rider down on Suzuki.
That's
that might
Monty
have been.
Wilson.
Yeah, Monty Wilson, relax the tire zone. So Klein leads the way from Moxie. Then Isaiah Dickerson with a good start as well. Into the whoops they go. Already spread out the top 3 from the rest of the field.
See how the 250s handle this rhythm. It looks like they're going to do some 3s and a single out, at least on lap number 1 here.
Yeah, Moxie closing in a little bit on Sean Klein, but thinking better of an early move as Klein will lead them through on the opening lap. This guy's settling in. Let's go ahead and scroll back and take a look at what's going on in 4th as Eagland has Mertens and your points leader Rush Chapman all mixed together.
typically with the names in front of him, Chapman should whip right through these guys. We'll see. Maybe they step up their game. Maybe the track's a little bit difficult to pass on, or that's what we'll see as Chapman goes for the triple into that rhythm, makes an easy pass on Josh Mertens, who goes down.
Yeah, that's another thing with these 250 guys, and compared to the 450 guys, is their speed will be down, obviously, horsepower-wise, in comparison to the 450 guys. So the rhythm lane's going to be quite different, like you mentioned, just going 3-3-3 through this one in the first lap. I don't think anybody's going to have enough mustard to bust a quad mid-rhythm, but I guess we'll see.
Means a lot of scrubbing for the 250 guys and trying to stay low, which means you got to land straight though too.
Moxie and Dickerson just, I think, came together. That might have had a lag bubble associated with it, as Isaiah Dickerson is Kevin Thomas Puma Xing his way through the grandstands right now. He's a magic man.
Slides out on the start straight, gets collected with Colby Eagland, who had a good run going early in this one. That allows Russ Chapman up to the 2 spot to try to give chase. Sean Klein out front, 4.6 second lead.
Yeah, these guys are definitely wanting to take it to Russ Chapman, and the first step of that process would be to beat him in the heat race, which they could not do last week. Chapman's looking pretty good right now.
Klein just busted the quad out of the rhythm. Chapman's going to go for it as well.
Oof.
Barely getting over it. That's about how Klein made it as well, clipping the back wheel, that's a fall off risk.
Yeah.
Lap times across the line, 57.8 for Sean Klein, 57 flat for Chapman.
Taking a look back real quick at your final transfer spot, it is Stefan Guido on the Architect machine, unchallenged at the moment. So top 9 have a good gap.
10th, and he actually just went off the track. He's going to open that gap up quite a bit more. A couple guys go down in the berm. Reese Harris now moves up to the 10 spot. He's got 5 seconds to make up, try to get up on Guido.
Yeah, Reese Harris is looking to make amends for a huge mental lapse in judgment last week when he was in 9th into the last corner of the heat race. He's going to transfer to his first ever main event, and for some reason thought he needed desperately to make a pass on Zoa Cross. Tried it, went down, lost the transfer spot, didn't go out of the LCQ either, and he's hoping to make amends for that one last week.
Now the man with the target on his back is Gustavo Diniz riding for Mad Cape, going down the rhythm. Well, not for long.
That is Dickerson. Dickerson, who's been having the lag issues, is down, and now Reese Harris is going to get mixed with him. Actually, Egeland was down too, or no, that's Jonathan Hughes, who was also inside of the top 10. So now Dickerson
Hughes on the
outside.
Dickerson goes to 9th, and Reese Harris up to 8th for the time being, as he's got Dickerson all over him. These guys want to play it safe. Dickerson actually doubles the triple.
Yeah, he seems to be having maybe gameplay issues as well. That was a very interesting scenario, him doubling there. Definitely lagging though. I mean, that's not just me, right? You can see the skipping.
Yeah, he's floating a bit for me. But he's going to lose the spot temporarily. Hughes gets into him.
Bowled by Hughes. Didn't pay off.
Back to the drawing board for Hughes, as he's going to actually go down again, or not all the way down, just be backwards on the track trying to get back going.
And look at all the riders going on by.
So Dickerson is down at the final transfer, so Brandon Hedge now looks like he's going to slide into the 9 spot.
Back up front real quick, just a battle for the lead is set to be brewing here. Chapman is trying to get to the back wheel of Sean Klein, and he might skirt down the inside. Yoo! There's contact, but somehow Klein got around him. And they're already lapping Craig Leake, who nearly had the whole shot in this race.
Wow, not good for Craig Leake. Chapman, I think, went in there deciding whether he wanted to be dirty or not, and that hesitation allowed him to not make the move on Klein, who slides out a little bit, saves it. Coming to the line, there you go, another lap in the books.
Ooh, Chapman got a little bit of a wobble before the finish there. Again, he is really working hard on Klein. Look at that scrub from Chapman. Comes up a bit short on the triple, but has a good drive. Now Klein goes protective, inside line. Oh, Chapman hits the deck.
Starting to get a little ruddy and rough, changing it, making these guys make mistakes.
Got lappers absolutely everywhere, including, I believe that's the 65 of Isaiah Dickerson getting lapped by Sean Klein. So Dickerson's heat race has gone from bad to worse, and he's down again in the whoops. So let's crank back to that final transfer spot again.
Robert Wilson under some heavy pressure from Jonathan Hughes for 9th spot. Wilson, of course, one of the riders down early in that second turn, comes all the way back up to 9th, so he's got to be feeling good if he can keep moving forward, but he's got some serious pressure from the 49 of Hughes.
Yeah, that rut getting dug real deep, entering the sand. It's kind of all funneling to one line, but I'm curious in the main events if that rut will get a little bit too gnarly and guys won't be able to handle it very well.
I already hear these guys exiting the corner. They're starting to shut off the throttle for just a second to keep from sliding out. And that's just going to cause a bigger bump as Chase Donovan was down. Sally Slomo crashes himself out of a transfer spot.
Oh yeah, and him and Mikhail Ming Woodley now going to work.
That's the 10th and 11th spots. Final transfer in front of them is now Jonathan Hughes.
Hughes did not look good before that whole sequence happened with Donovan. So he's going to have to try to muster it up a little bit more speed here on this last lap. These guys are now getting the white flag, which means it's probably time to go up front and watch your race leader become your race winner. Sean Klein is going to bring this thing home. He held off Russ Chapman. Sean Klein, heat number 1 winner at Houston. Back to that final transfer spot, though. Still Hughes.
I tell you what, the road looks a lot tougher for the 250 guys. Hughes goes for the big line, puts himself on the deck. Does Donovan play it smart? Does he know that he went down? He
Looks
does
like
play it smart, so... Now Hughes is going to have to hope for a little bit of a mistake and some help. Denise is the man on the charge, and he puts the front end over the berm. Donovan gets through that rhythm and makes a little mistake in the berm, but probably should be good if he can just keep it on 2 wheels here. He's got a nice gap behind him.
Yeah, cruising through the whoops. Wonder if he even doubles through this rhythm section.
He's going for the 3 in, a rider down.
Ooh. Is that? No, that's
Dickerson,
not for position.
or Robert Wilson actually just getting back going in front of Donovan, but that's the 8th spot, so that must be a lap down.
Yeah, looks like Donovan's got this thing wrapped. He's got to get through the whoops here before the finish, and he does. So Chase Donovan locks down the final transfer spot. He joins Robert Wilson, Stefan Guido, Brandon Hedge, Reese Harris, Jordan Moxey, Colby Eagland, Russ Chapman, and your race winner Sean Klein. Headed to the main event out of this one. Cuts are in, does not affect the top 10. Interesting to see here, Chris, that at least in Sean Klein's case, continuing to rip around after the finish. I think he's trying to get as much road practice in as he can, which is not a bad idea for some of these guys.
Yeah, looking at the road stuff, it's really affecting these 250 guys because they try to carry so much speed around the berms and carry their momentum. And as the ruts start to develop coming out, I'm watching a lot of them start to slide out, having a hard time staying down in the ruts really good, causing a lot of mistakes. On the line for heat number 2, we have Jacob Hubbard, Dakota French, Matthias Austin Bear, Logan Leitzel, Jake Rose, Kevin Gonzalez, Matt Model, Devin Ryan, Tyler Fry, Salty, Walty Gebhardt, Tyler Swigard, James Schuler, Zoe Cross, Charles Gable, Derek Del Rocco, Fernando Andrade, Trevor Doiron, Cody Penwell, Nick Uzik rounds out your field. We're going to take the top 9 here after this warm-up lap for these guys. And if it's anything like heat number 1, it should be full of action to get into that top 9.
Full of action indeed. And what's not full of action is my screen, which is still loading. But I'm happy these guys are doing warm-up laps this year. It's going to be a lot of long loading times for the old trusty steed. There we go. I gotta disconnect and reconnect.
This first turn is looking really interesting after only a couple of races. Of course, that consolation in this first heat. A lot of pile-ups going into that thing. Riders banging all over each other.
All right. So we are just about set to go here. 250 heat number 2 action from Houston.
What's the key to getting through this first turn safely, Kellen?
Honestly, I think it's taking an inside-ish gate and not even worrying about getting a decent jump and just kind of letting everybody push wide and sucking in tight. I think you'll come out probably at least inside of the top 10, if not inside of the top 5, if you have a gate between 1 and 5 and you just hold tight on the inside. Because it seems to me...
let's take a look at somebody down towards the inside. Maybe Matthias Janis, he's a P2, I think?
Yep, Matthias Janis will take a look down the inside and see just what happens with one of these inside gates. But here comes 250 Heat 2 from Houston. Gate is down, and he got pinched.
He has a bad jump. We'll see. If there's a pileup, you got to sneak behind it. Now, he came in way behind, but it looks like he's going to come out with a decent start. So your strategy looks good in this heat race, at least out front. Nick Uzik was up there. Jake Rose puts him on the deck. So Jake the Snake, out front.
Yeah, I think that start was probably the cleanest start we're going to see all night long, to be fair. Everybody seems to be pushing wide in that first corner for the most part, but guys are pretty smart about it then. Rose leads from Leitzel and Devin Ryan, though, and the top 3 are checking out already. Leitzel's looking to go to work on Rose for the race lead. Oh, Rose, little mistake. Man, these guys are just right along those tough blocks coming out of that corner in the sand. So Rose from Leitzel Ryan. Now Matthias Janis, or Matthias Janis, I apologize. Getting passed up by Cody Penwell, though. Penwell just missed a transfer spot last week at Anaheim. He's looking to make his way into the main event tonight. Jacob Hubbard, Zoa Cross. And I believe Dakota French is your last transfer spot. Yep, just behind Kevin Gonzalez. Oh, man, running it in hot is Nick Uzik on Fernando Andrade. Oh, Uzik is down, though. Pays the price for being aggressive. And here goes just about everybody and their mother. Well, we got another rider down. That looks to be Dakota French, and it is. He is laying sideways in the middle of the track. It caused other chaos. Now I believe, nope, it's Fernando Andrade into the final transfer spot. So Andrade, passes up Kevin Gonzalez. That'll gift Walter Gebhardt the final transfer spot. Oh, and Penwell's going down too, so here we go. More shakeups. Gebhardt's going to come through and move into 8th. Penwell looks like he's just going to get going in front of Charles Gable in 9th.
It's been a while since we've seen Cody Penwell out here racing with us.
Yeah, he looked good last week, just missed out on the main event. Just trying to turn in another good ride, but make it a transferable ride tonight.
He's got that quad pretty good. There's a couple riders down in the turn in front of him. That's Fernando Andrade and Walter Gebhardt.
So Gebhardt's going to go to work on Penwell, sneaking back up towards the front one more time, though. It is still Jake Rose. Oh, no, he just went down with the lead, so Devin Ryan's going to take it over, but maybe not for long. He just made an absolute mess of that rhythm section. And here comes Matthias Janis. Makes better of it, though. We got a 4-rider battle up front.
Logan Leitzel also in the mix.
Oh,
Rose
Devin Ryan. Oh, Ryan swapped diddlies down the whoops and hands the lead to Matthias Janis. Now Leitzel giving chase, but he jumps off the track and into the finish line stand.
Wow.
That was going to hurt.
Shake-ups. Up to 3rd somehow. Zoa Cross came out of nowhere on the Moto Chase and Ronald Cycle Center number 48.
Yeah, working around some lap traffic. That looks to be Tyler Swigard.
Jake Rose is down in the number 2 spot after the finish. So now Zoa Cross out of nowhere up into the 2 spot. He catches the bail off that triple face, somehow keeps it together.
And suddenly Matthias Janis has a good-sized lead going out front. That turned from a big old 4-rider battle to a whole lot of nothing real quick. Now Jake Rose is going back to work through the lap traffic, trying to pass Devin Ryan. He's going to 3 in and 3 again and hit the deck. So he loses a spot to Hubbard and Leitzel, and now Gebhardt goes through, and Penwell also puts him down, and that puts him in 8th.
Not a lot of room for mistakes left for Jake Rose, who found himself leading this thing at one point. He's going to try to move back to the front with Cody Penwell right in front of him.
These guys are all pretty well bunched together, too. The leader just went over the finish line jump. So 1st to 8th, almost on the same straightaway. Yeah, Penwell hits the deck. Look at this train in front of him. Gebhardt going to work on a lapper, but Leitzel is giving Jacob Hubbard some fits.
Keep an eye on that battle. That's for the number 4 position on the racetrack.
Leitzel trying an outside line. Wheelie hops, and Hubbard makes a mistake. Somehow rides it out, but Leitzel gets the pass.
Leitzel lucky not to get into the back wheel of him there.
Yeah.
I see a lot of these 250 guys actually stepping over that table in the on-off section. I think it's a little difficult for the 250 to get the drive to actually go from table to table. Oh, Jake Rose just put a lap rider down.
Yeah, I saw that too. So now it looks like Penwell is up to 8th. Andrade still in the final transfer spot, and Schuler is down with Dakota French. And there goes the 70 machine temporarily.
That was Tyler Fry, 76 on the 2-stroke.
Oh yeah, 76. And so here's Doiron working with Dakota French and Schuler, but all these guys are pretty far back of Fernando Andrade. They're going to need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, almost a 10-second gap from 9th to 10th. Andrade's Power Dream machine just needs to play it smart here. A few laps to go in this heat race. These heats are long.
Yeah, they are. And this track is getting rutted quickly. Man,
Battle for second is on between Devin Ryan and Logan Leitzel. We lost Zoe Cross somewhere. He's dropped to 4th, right behind these guys.
Oh, Cross is down after the whoops too, and oh, a horrible tracker entry there for Nick Usick that almost went really bad. Almost took out Jacob Hubbard. Your leader, though, is on the last lap of the race. Matthias Janis. Man, I guess we picked pretty well picking him at the start of the race.
Yeah, I mean, he played it super smart in that first turn. He was one of the last guys going down the start straight, just tugged the inside. Makes a mistake here off track. He does have a nice 8-second lead over Devin Ryan, so as long as he keeps his head together. He slides out again, though, trying to blow this thing.
Trying to. He's warming up his arm to throw this one away. Man, he doesn't look comfortable either.
Well, Leitzel moved into second as Devin Ryan went down, and he's having all kinds of struggles. So Janis, that's the one thing he has going for him. Everyone behind him also making mistakes.
For now, hanging on, but cases a triple in.
Lapper trying to get his lap back desperately, it looks like here. Nope, he's going to tuck in and actually let him go by.
Wow. So Matthias Janis, bad last lap and all, will still take this one home. He's your winner in heat number 2. Leitzel got fairly close, 4 seconds back. Ends up second. Devin Ryan, another solid heat race. He's going to get third right in front of Zoe Cross by the looks of it. Gebhardt here in 5th.
Oh, Cross down at the line, so Gebhardt's going to get him.
Cross still trying to get up, loses a spot to Rose. Here comes Hubbard. Cross just gets over the line, and Hubbard ends up 7th. Andrade was up to 8th, so now Penwell trying to hang on for the last transfer spot. Dakota French coming from behind. Penwell's just doubling his way through the rhythm section, though.
I tell you what, that might not seem like a big deal because Zoe Cross still made the main event, but he lost 3 positions there. And gate pick is going to be key tonight, as we just saw that inside gates are going to be where you want to be. The outside, a lot of pileups. Maybe costly for Zoe Cross there, going down right at the finish line.
Absolutely. So Penwell does get that final transfer spot. Doiron, Bear, Schuler, DeRocco, Kevin Gonzalez, Fry, Matt Model, Swigard, Nick Usick, and Charles Gable. Headed to that froggy last chance qualifier. No changes after cuts either, so Matthias Janis still your 250 Heat 2 winner. Coming up next, it's the big boys. 450 Heat number 1 going to be lining up next. Actually lining up right now. So we head into the loading screen once again, and I'm sure Chris, as soon as they load in, will give us a lovely rundown of the 2450 riders that you will see on the gate here in 450 heat number 1.
Absolutely. Bobby DeSalle, Jack Haley, Garrett Over, Chase Blakely, Jeremy Shipley, Cameron Lee, Holden Coate, Daniel Mills, Tyler Lang, James Armstrong, Connor Holiak, Jeremy Siebel, Alexis Leclerc, Tony Spinelli, Jeremy Cohenauer, Tyson Fresquez, Tyler Schmidt, Andrew Wood, Austin Eklund, Tyler Morin round out your field. Holy crap, Fresquez, Leclerc, and round 1 winner Siebel all in the same heat race. We got some action on our hands right here.
Ooh, I like the sounds of that. That sounds like a good heat race with those 3 guys at least together, but I don't know. There's
talk
a lot
about
of
bringing
other guys.
the hype. More hype than the Alessi Pro debut right now, I think. Where's my t-shirt at?
Believe the hype. Woo.
See if it delivers here. We got a little warm-up start going on.
Yep, still
keeping an eye on the gate picks here. Down on the inside, Jack Haley is pretty far in. I think he actually has that inside gate right now. James Armstrong also pretty far inside as well as Shipley. We'll see how those guys come out.
Yeah, we see the red plate number 19 of Jeremy Siebel. And for the first time this season, somewhere in this mix, we will see the non-red plated number 1 of Tyson Fresquez. Somewhere in here.
I'm guessing in Supercross, Tyson's probably ran more races with a red plate than without.
I'd have to imagine so too. And there it is. Red plate last week, no red plate this week. 9th at the opener for Fresquez. So not a complete disaster, but obviously probably not exactly what he wanted to have happen. See how he
interested to see both of these rhythm sections here on the 450s. There's a couple quad lines that are pretty big, but they're pretty hard to be consistent. See what these guys do come race time.
Yeah, you definitely have to nail that triple into this long rhythm to get that quad. And then you really have to downside the triple into the first rhythm really smoothly to be able to quad all the way to the corner. It's kind of the exact same situation as the other section. But here we go, on the line, 450 heat number 1. I'm taking a look at Holden Coate right there in the middle of the gate. 20 riders set to go, and only 9 going to the main event. Time to go racing in the 450 class from Houston as the gate is down, and it's a good start from the 33. Better start from the inside of the Suzuki. No, 33. That would
Jack
be
Haley
James
goes
Armstrong.
into second. Armstrong in the lead. Alexis Leclerc slid in like Davalos going into the DMs. Took that inside gate after the warm-up lap, and he comes out third. So Haley and Leclerc, gates 1 and 2. And then Shipley, who was in gate 3, came out second, third, and fourth. The inside gates are definitely where it's at right now.
Can definitely see the difference in race etiquette between the 450 and 250 class with how clean that start was. Now riders going down to the loops. Oh, lands on the back of Jack Haley. And flipping over the berm he goes. Well, stuck in the berm now as Armstrong's going to lead him through on the opening lap. Haley from Fresquez.
Leclerc nailed that quad. No one else had done it, and he landed right on the back of Haley, I believe it was.
So I wonder now if they settle in on this first lap, if we're going to see more guys actually getting that quad. Again, very dependent on getting the first line right as Armstrong goes for the 3-4 in the first rhythm. He is down.
Fresquez is down as well. In third, it opens the door for the lawnmower man, Tony Spinelli, riding his John Deere right up in the number 2 spot on the number 317 Pogo ride.
And all sorts of mixing up going on here is Tyler Lang and Chase DeSalle. Chase DeSalle, improper naming convention. I will be sure to submit a protest for that. Tyson Fresquez is going to have Jeremy Siebel sneaking up on him before long, and that is the final transfer spot as your current points leader.
Already seeing the inconsistencies of that quad line.
Yeah, getting quadded over almost was Siebel. This is your 250 Supercross champions from last year. Siebel on the west, Holiak on the east, and battling for the last 450 transfer spot in this heat race.
We talked about it at the beginning of the show about how important these starts are going to be, and we've kind of seen it here in the heat races. The guys that have gotten out front have definitely stayed there compared to the guys not getting the starts. Holiak going to quad up the inside and over the berm, head over heels over bars. He eats crap.
I'm thinking that quad into that corner is just a little bit too much for some of these guys. Haley is now leading, though. How about Tony freaking Spinelli, dude? Last week, after a year and a half away from the game, just puts it right into the main at A1 and already battling with some of the best in the world again this week as Shipley yard sails before the finish line.
Ooh, that's a bad spot for Shipley to be. He's kind of stuck in the tower on the finish line pole and on the jump. Is he going to be able to get out of there? It looks like he's going to be able to back his way out. Now he can get back going. He's going to lose a lot of time.
Dealing with the old bearded man in the cornfield there.
Yeah, I mean, how about Spinelli, though? Just mowing down the competition right now.
Oh, Armstrong getting swapped in the first rhythm behind Leclerc. So we have Haley, Spinelli, Leclerc, and Armstrong now battling with Leclerc. Interesting to see that this corner before the whoops, I thought that it would really develop into that one swooping outside line, but there's already a second line developing underneath of it. We're only on lap 4. I mean, I can't imagine what that's going to look like in the main event.
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier about the 250 guys. That you start to try to rail the corner so hard, and you have to deal with the rut as Chase DeSalle goes around Fresquez into the 5 spot, that you start to get off balance and slide out, lose all your drive, or even fall over. So they're starting to cut down lower and lower. Definitely going to get deep.
Yeah, speaking of the corners breaking down a little bit, I just saw Fresquez push the front wheel in the corner before the triple, held onto it, but now pushes himself off the track, and Seabolt goes through.
Oh, Spinelli crashes out a second. Armstrong crashes out. Leclerc actually blew the rhythm, doubled down it, and finds himself up into the number 1 spot now as Jack Haley had a mistake.
Yeah.
I was just about to comment how smooth Haley was looking, but he makes a mistake, and the man to capitalize is Alexis Leclerc, fast qualifier.
You and I talked about it a little bit in the pre-race show about Leclerc and these long, fast whoops. I just saw him blitz those whoops straight, dead as an arrow.
Haley coming
really
back
solid.
On him.
Man, Haley is just, you're right, just like quietly solid and smooth every week. Like, it doesn't look as though he's going that fast, but then you see him taking it to the fastest qualifier here in the heat race and just sticking with him, no problem.
Yeah, Leclerc actually making a few more mistakes. Haley just smooth and steady. Leclerc's explosiveness, he'll pull back out after making a mistake and then get reeled right back in when he makes one of those mistakes. As he makes another one there, saves it, but doesn't have the run coming out of the corner. Here comes Haley.
Thought Haley might try a different rhythm, thinks better of it.
We'll see, they're both going to use the outside route here. I thought one of them might try the inside and see how they work out against each other, but playing follow the leader a little bit.
Getting a little huckabuck, both of them through the whoops, and they got to be careful because Chase DeSalle is not too far behind them.
Neither one of them getting the quad here.
Haley quads out though, almost. Really tight battle for the lead, and over the line one more time. Still less than a second splitting them.
Almost identical lap times, only 1/10 separating them as Haley's giving chase. Leclerc going to try to go to the inside, going into the sand, see how that works out for him. Looks like Haley's outside's going to be faster, close him right back to the back wheel into this tricky rhythm.
Oh, Haley really high on the front end going into this rhythm. This guy's clipping that second 3, but still able to make it no problem.
Leclerc really struggling going into turn 2, losing a lot of time, 2 laps in a row. Now they're both going to dive into that inside route as it's starting to get a little bigger and more developed.
I think that they are coming up to lap your points leader as well. Could be wrong, but I keep seeing flashes of red with green. Nope, actually I was wrong. But it is his teammate, whichever teammate it is.
Oh! Haley clips a rider down.
Where is Leclerc? Okay, he got away from that.
Oh, DeSalle comes in hot on Haley.
Ouch. Laid him out. So now Spinelli sneaks in. There is your points leader, Seabolt. And Fresquez still giving chase to him. Interesting to see how many different lines are forming coming into this corner before the finish. There's 3 different lines that all funnel into one exit line, as Armstrong was picking himself up from the deck and now has Holden Coat closing in as they hit the white flag. This is your battle for 7th on track? Nope.
Armstrong
8th.
and Coat is 8th and 9th, so they have to be careful. They have the transfer spots. Connor Holyak on the outside looking in is on the deck, so Chase Blakely gets into him. That's going to give a big gap there actually to the 8 and 9 riders.
Coat had a big moment there for a second. Yeah, here comes Leclerc out of the final corner. And he survives the attack from Jack Haley and goes on to win your first heat in the 450 class as he explodes over the finish line. Chase Cassell's going to pick up second. Haley's got third on lock. Spinelli into the main event again. Fresquez got around Siebold in the end. Siebold is down, actually. So here comes Shipley through. Armstrong also going to go by.
Double fall off for Siebold. He got hit as he was getting up.
Oh, Holden Coates squeaks through. Now Siebold, yeah, I don't think Eklund's going to get there. So Siebold, your Anaheim 1 winner, is going to have at least 17th gate pick. Eklund 10th. Cameron Lee and Chase Blakely, two guys that probably are going to make a lot of mains this year, but are missing out in this one, headed to the LCQ. Garrett Oliver, Connor Holiak has rage quit. Tyler Schmidt was a lap down, as was Tyler Lang, Jeremy Cohenauer, Tyler Morin, Daniel Mills, and Andrew Wood. Cuts are in. Let's see if that changed anything. No, it did not. Leclerc, your Heat 1 winner here.
That's going to be a confidence booster for Leclerc to come out and win that with, like I said, we said that thing was stacked. Let's see who is left for Heat number 2 now, because we had some big boys in Heat number 1.
No question about it. That was going to be an enticing heat race to watch, and it really proved to be quite interesting. I'm really excited about the way that the lines are developing in these bowl corners.
Yeah, and coming to the line, we have Spencer Turley, Devin Davis, Ryan Mahan, Craig Richards, Dominic Tiberino, Matt Burkeen, William St. Laurent, Kevin Ferzaka, Josh Williams, Stanley Steamer, Bryce Whelan, Adam Holm, Dade Honeywell, Tanner Rogers, Eduardo Simos, Dennis Fieldberg, Jeremy Hinners, Jeremy Smith, Sabrina Ritzler, Jesse Mullins, Colton Mitchell. Round out your field. Plenty of big names left in this one, that's for sure. Of course, checking those inside gates. Looks like we have Mitchell down on the inside, Jesse Mullins, Jeremy Smith, all down on the first 3 inside gates here for the warm-up lap.
Oh, I didn't time out that time. Interesting.
Practice start is down. Hopefully Jeremy Smith not using up his good start there.
Woo! Good start gone quickly. Everybody just piled in. But of course this is a warm-up lap. What I like to see about this 450 class this year, that I don't think I've seen as much of it in years past, is how many single-digit riders we have in this class this year. Usually speaking, I feel like it's fairly evenly split between having 2 or 3 single-digit riders on a coast each, and then 5 or so single digits in the 450 class. It's like every single-digit guy is on a 450. The only guy that's not here that is a single-digit guy is Hunter Root, if I'm not mistaken. Fresquez, now number 2, but it's technically number 1 is here. Dennis Fjellberg, number 3 is here. Jeremy Smith, number 4 is here. Root is number 5, he's not here. Mitchell, number 6, is on a 450. Leclerc, number 7, Burkeen, number 8, and Mullins, number 9. Every single digit but Root is on a 450 and here tonight. I think that's pretty exciting, and I think it's pretty interesting too. As the board turns sideways and the revs come up once again, we're set to go 450 heat number 2 here at Houston. Let's go racing. Good jump out of the inside, and Jeremy Smith did not use up his good start. He's getting the whole shot here.
Whelan and Fjellberg collide a little bit in second and third. I think that sends Whelan off the track.
Yes, it does.
He stays on 2 wheels, though. It's going to allow Colton Mitchell to slide on up, along with Spencer Turley.
Speaking of the single digits, here are 3 of them out front. Smith, Fjellberg, and Mitchell. 4, 3, and 6 in the program book. Number 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack.
Going big for the quad is Fjellberg into the number 1 ride.
Yeah, and Mitchell follows him suit. Smith made a complete mess at rhythm section. Got to watch out for the number 61 of Spencer Turley sneaking into the background as we got a freight train of riders coming to the finish line on lap 1. We got Holm with St. Laurent, Burkeen about to get passed by Whelan, maybe not quite, and MX Simulator's only pro woman race winner, Sabrina Ritzler, made the night show tonight, and she's running up right here with the front of the group already.
Yes, she made the night show and her boyfriend did not. Jab, jab.
Jab, jab indeed, as Whelan does make that pass on Burkeen, then gets set up in the corner. Now Ritzler's trying to get by with Tanner Rogers on the 69, squeaking in. lots of changing around. Rogers goes into the final transfer spot. Ritzler almost got repassed by Whelan, and it's still just so many riders mixed in. Whelan still trying to work on Ritzler. Oh, Rogers T-bones Whelan, and Burkeen swings around, as does just about everybody else.
Ritzler was down too, I believe. Kevin Frizak are going to go through, and Dade Honeywell now to the final transfer spot. So Burkeen not only picked up a bunch of positions on the racetrack, but also picked up a local sponsor, Jumpin' Jim's Tire and Lube here in Houston, Texas.
Kevin Frizak is tailing him over the finish line, and he's also bringing Dade Honeywell, Dominic Tiberino, and Tanner Rogers with him. 5 riders all sharing the same airspace over that triple.
Look at the freight train that we have going on from 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place, all just freight training around the racetrack and not far off of your leader, Jeremy Smith.
Yeah. Turley looks like he's even going to work a little bit on Fjellberg here for that 2 spot. Adam Holmes sneaking in, Colton Mitchell also right there.
A lot of guys using that 5th gear technique down the whoops tonight, trying to leave the revs low and keep her straight and smooth and still carry a lot of momentum.
Yeah, Holm goes off the track, hands the spot over to Colton Mitchell. Now St. Laurent's trying to sneak up into the background.
Turley, the man on the move right now, putting the pressure all over Fjellberg.
Yeah, Turley looks solid here tonight.
Oh, Fjellberg, a little mistake, clipped that triple. Such a loose style that it's hard to tell when he makes a mistake and when he's just kind of riding like himself.
Yeah, that consistency really working in the favor of Smith so far as he continues to just kind of click off a couple tenths here and there, getting a little further away from Fjellberg. Fjellberg may pull it back here and there, but then makes mistakes like you mentioned.
At 54.4 fast lap already in this heat race for Jeremy Smith.
Oh, and Fjellberg's down at the end of the whoop, so that allows Turley and Mitchell to go through. Holm and St. Laurent also split him. Burkeen will just get there and make the pass.
St. Laurent slides out, leaving the corner. He's not going to have any run going into this rhythm. Cross jump Carls.
Oh, Fjellberg able to sneak underneath of him. And then St. Laurent trying to get back by. Can't quite get it done, though.
Last transfer right now is the number 9 of Jesse Mullins running in the 9 spot. Bryce Whelan on the outside looking in. Things have settled down a little bit at the front of the field. The battle for 5th, 6th, 7th looks good. Burkeen has the spot right now. Fjellberg and William St. Laurent right there.
Holy cowies. Bunch of different teams mixed in this battle, and they're all on Kawasaki's.
Just went around both of them. Into the on-offs. He goes up into the number 5 spot. Fjellberg pressure all over him.
Mad Cape, Jumpin' Jim's Tire and Lube, a.k.a. Hager Designs, Rival Decal and Mad Cape, a bunch of green.
And that goes all the way back to your last transfer spot. One mistake from these guys, and they're going to find themselves out of a transfer as Whelan is reeling them in.
Got a rider down at the end of the rhythm section. That is Turley, who is definitely going backwards. He's in the last transfer spot now as Mullins slips by. And now here comes Whelan, 2nd place last week, trying to get in.
Whelan laid down a Stanley Steamer that lap, reeled that group in. He was pretty far behind him starting the lap. Now he's all up in that group. Turley has some serious pressure behind him to try to hold a transfer. Whelan making the inside work going into that sand.
Almost. Oh, Turley sends it in behind Burkeen. Oh, and that is off the right side of the track for a second there. That was Kevin Frizaka, who now slides into the clutches of Spencer Turley. Look at this absolute freight train. This goes all the way up to Adam Holm, or just about. William St. Laurent is actually right at the front of this train, but Holm only a couple seconds in front of him, and Holm is in 3rd.
The party might be at the front, but the action's at the back.
Mullins down. Mullins out of the transfer spot. Whelan takes it over. And Mullins gets almost lit up by Rogers. Woo!
Rogers lights himself up, takes a dirt nap beside the announcer's or the manager's tower. Mullins has work to do though. 7 seconds to make up. Not a lot of time to do it.
All these guys are still really bunched together, and one mistake, and a lot of them are going down as Whelan goes 3-4 to the inside of Frizaka, and Turley gets them both. What a move by Bryce Whelan, making passes happen.
into the whoop section. We got some guys going in 5th gear, some guys in 1st gear, everything, different techniques throughout the field.
Different techniques, different rhythm lanes, the roads coming into effect a little bit as well. What an exciting race this heat race has been. We still got a lap to go.
We have a new leader at the front. Colton Mitchell has made the move on Jeremy Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And both of them nailed a quad out of that first rhythm.
Ooh.
Smith slides it out, keeps her on 2, and then slides out again.
They're plenty far ahead of home there, though. Oh, Whelan going to work on Burkeen, coming down the first rhythm lane. Let's see if he goes 3-4. He definitely goes 3. Does he go 4? Yes, he does. Lands deep into the corner.
But really rutted going into that corner. That's where the slide outs are coming from. You carry so much speed, you have to turn down.
Yeah, Burkeen made a mistake at the back of this group, but up front, Colton Mitchell brings out the last corner, and he gets Smith for the lead and gets him for the win in this heat race as well. Holm, Fjellberg 4th, Whelan 5th, Frizaka 6th,
transfer.
Turley 7th, Burkeen 8th, and Mullins is in 9th, and he gets St. Laurent.
Throws it away. Tiberino now needs to help for a mistake out of Mullins, who has a decent gap.
Yeah, and Burkeen. Oh, Whelan is down in the last corner. Mullins might get him, but yeah, I don't think anybody else will.
No, there's a rider down on the finish.
That was a lapper by the looks of it. Tiberino ends up in 10th. Rogers 11th. Hinners, first time we saw him in this heat race. He's going to come home in 12th. Dade Honeywell, St. Laurent. I can't believe it, but I think that this heat was deeper.
Rough start to the season for 15th place rider, the number 15. The X3 rider Devin Davis, I believe, failed to qualify at round number 1.
Yep.
And finds himself in the LCQ here at round number 2 after a solid season last year.
And there's Davis, no shortage of guys that he will be racing with in that LCQ. LCQ is going to be stacked once again tonight. Davis, Richards, Ritzler was in that transfer spot for a little while. She's out. Mahan, terrible race in 18th. Simo's rage quit, and Josh Williams never even left the gate.
Bummer for someone who lost a spot in the racing if Williams doesn't at least show up for the LCQ. I figured he earned the spot on the gate, so as long as he showed up for the LCQ, I have no problem with it, but...
Wow. All right. Already through heat racing tonight. Just about an hour into the program, and all we have left are a couple LCQs, which these guys will build in just a second. And then the main events. I want to take a quick moment to thank some of our sponsors. Of course, this broadcast would not be possible without the fine folks at versuspc.com. Head over there, check out all the awesome products they have, and get your computer updated, upgraded, or built right now. They'll definitely help you guys out. But also all the wonderful series sponsors that make this all possible. Of course, MotoOption coming back for their 7th season as a title sponsor of the MX Simulator Pro Series. Making things happen with them. Racetech Suspension. Chris, I think you know a little bit about them.
Racetech Suspension and engines.
And engines, that's correct. Helping out some of the best, 22 of the best riders in the world. You guys are mixed in there with, I believe, 4 Racetech riders made the main event at Anaheim 1 last week. So
yeah, that's way more than any other company besides, of course, the factories that produce the suspension components. And I heard the fastest rider from Alaska chooses Racetech Suspension and engines. Do you know that guy, Kellen?
The Alaskan assassin, man, Ben LeMay, made it into the main event right up front. In fact, he passed Chad Reed in the heat race, which I don't think many people knew who the heck that guy even was.
Blew by him in the whoops, actually. Must be that Racetech setup.
Oh, yes, indeedy. But also, FamMX Designs helping out with the prizes for the series this year. And MXSEMF Servers, I believe, is also on board with the MXSEMF crew. So lots of help being provided this year. Can't thank all the lovely sponsors enough for making everything possible. And
yeah,
another
definitely
year
log on, MXSEMF.com. Get involved with some racing. If you haven't picked up the game yet, first go to MXSimulator.com, buy the game, start playing. It has provided me years and years and years of enjoyment on the playing side, on the buildings, creating side, lots of custom tracks, custom skins, all the replica stuff that you can imagine. And then get to MXSEMF.com, sign up for some racing. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, and to your point about if you've never raced before, if you're new to MX Simulator, there is a series available for you that you maybe don't have to pay for if you're not too fast. They run a novice class free of charge for all new players, so you guys can head over there, check it out, MXSEMF.com. That race is ran Sunday nights, correct?
Yes, Sunday nights for the North America Series.
And Tuesday midday for the Americans, but obviously Tuesday nights for the Europeans for the EU Series. So cool stuff. MXSEMF stepping up huge this year to make everything possible. Wouldn't be out here racing without these guys, and so far everything's looking like it's running pretty darn smooth as current
program
race host.
Flowing well tonight. Looks like Niagara Falls. It's flowing so well out there. It's LCQ time. Best racing of the night. The 250 LCQ will be the next race we see on the track. We're going to see the top 4 riders go to the main event. Everyone else is going to be ticked off, probably heading to the forums to start raging. And we will follow all the action the rest of the night. So who will take those last 4 spots? It's desperation time, and we're about to have a lineup as the riders are going to the gate. It's going to be a good one, and coming to the gate, we have Josh Mertens, Kevin Gonzalez, Isaiah Dickerson, Dakota French, Charles Gable, Austin Baird, Jonathan Hughes, Matt Model, Craig Leake, Tyler Fry, Brandon Cummings, Joey Nielsen, Nick Uzik, Jake Warden, Tyler Swigard, Jack Fowler, James Schuler, Gustavo Denise, Mikhail Ming Woodley, Derek DeRocco, Trevor Doiron. Round out your field. It's 22 riders. 4 of them are going to go to the main event. It is going to be action for sure. And you know what? If I'm in this race, I want one of those inside gates really, really badly, because you know there's going to be a pileup in turn number 1.
Yeah, a good start in any race is a good idea, but it might be the most crucial in the LCQ to have a really good start, try to get through that first section clean. Only 4 guys going to the main, and 22 guys are on the gate vying for those 4 spots. So that means 18 riders from this one going home a little bit unhappy.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely on at this point. And yeah, I mean, you know that coming into this first turn that somebody's going to come in there like a bull in a china shop and just blow everyone up. And you just pray that you're not one of the guys that get knocked down. If you get a clean start, you have a good chance of making it in.
Let's see if I loaded in time. Yes, I did. Okay.
Something that a lot of people that don't play the game, or at least race competitively, might not know, is you get so nervous playing that your hands will start shaking, and this game takes such fine control that it's really hard to just be smooth and clean, even if you try to slow down with a shaking thumb.
Yeah,
especially like going down a whoop section.
The idea of thumb pump is so cliche with this game, and you know, talking about arm pump in real life with motocross, but it's true. I mean, if you've ever been in a high pressure situation in a race in this game, and you know, it is just a video game, but when you're in the moment, it definitely doesn't feel like it. It's intense racing action. It's really hard to keep focused, and when you're in the race lead, like you said, it starts getting real fidgety, you get nervous. Some of these guys are used to it, others, like me several times, are not. It can go
and it's always worse in an LCQ, because you know if you screw up that you're done for the night. You don't even get a chance. Sometimes for me it was always a little easier in the main event, because it was like, yeah, you mess up, you might blow a position, but you at least are in the main event.
Oh yeah, I mean, and to that point too, I always felt outdoors, I didn't get that nervousness as much, because you're in the main race if you're racing a moto, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I didn't make the main, this, that, or the other thing. But like you said, it gets really tense and tight in these LCQs, and only 4 of them are going to the main event. It is 250 West LCQ action right here live on SYS TV from Houston as the gate is down. And good jump out of the inside once again. Outside might get the whole shot, though. The
Fry.
2 smokes. Yes, indeed. Tyler Fry on the 2-stroke gets the whole shot. He's alongside. That is Jonathan Hughes, who squares him up in the corner.
James Schuler off to a good start as well. And Isaiah Dickerson currently running in the final transfer. But here comes Jake Warden. Takes advantage early of a little mistake. Carries some momentum, and he has the 4 spot. But I'm sure we're going to see a lot of shakeups here, as here comes Dickerson back by.
Fry's down.
Rider go down. That's T. Fry.
Yeah, Fry swapped at the end of the whoops. Almost caught it, but just had a little bit too much momentum and piled over the jump. Oh, we got a rider backwards in the rhythm section there. Almost took out Jake Warden. So things
Derek
shuffled up.
DeRocco goes for the last transfer around the outside of
Woo!
the 237 award and slides it out, though not able to make the move.
Yeah, DeRocco is an OG at its finest. Going back to 2012, the last time he raced a professional MX Simulator race, and was a heat race winner way back in 2012, and he's trying to make it into his first main event since at least mid-2012 when he was racing the 250 West Championship back then.
Nick Uzik going in the big line here up in the 6th spot, trying everything he can to make up time. Not a lot of time, and only 4 spots go to the main. Right now, Jonathan Hughes, James Schuler, Isaiah Dickerson, and looks like DeRocco just made the move on Jake Worden, so Warden's going to have to try to come back.
Ooh, and Uzik almost goes off the track. Wanted to point out real quick, the number 11 machine of Craig Leake, for all you Evergood fans out there, is actually, he just went down in the background. So he's outside looking in and stuck in a corner right now.
It's full-on panic mode right now. If you're Craig Leake, do everything you can, which usually causes more mistakes.
Ooh, that's Jonathan Hughes hung up in the corner after the finish.
Dickerson into the lead, Schuler second, DeRocco up to third, so Jonathan Hughes sitting fourth. Got a couple guys of Nick Uzik and Jake Worden trying to make the move to get into that main. Uzik goes for the big line.
Oh man, when they come up short on that second triple, it's a disaster waiting to happen, but Uzik rides out of it clean. Into the whoops. A little huckabuck for Hughes at the end, but he's able to hang tight. It's got to be tight in the old sphincter at this point.
Oh, we got some mistakes going on in front of him.
Yeah, Schuler. Now he goes to the last transfer spot. He's got to watch out for Uzik, who's getting passed by Worden right now.
And there's a rider down on the finish line.
That's Hughes. Oh, and Uzik goes down as well. He's on the backside of the finish line jump. A fall-off crash that gives Jake Worden the final transfer spot for the time being. 2 laps to go.
Huge gap. It gives him about a 10-second gap behind him.
Wow, oh wow. I don't believe Jake Worden's ever made a pro main. I remember him racing AMs just last year. So it must be pressure time for him. These guys up front probably not too worried about it, especially knowing the gap that they have to that final transfer spot now.
And battle for 5th is insane right now between Uzik and Hughes, but they need to not worry about each other and just freight train up to that number 4 spot. But I guess if Worden were to make a mistake, they want to be in the 5 spot to take advantage.
Right. This very well could be the battle for the last transfer spot on the last lap if Worden were to go down. So it almost looks like they're treating it like that as Uzik jumps off the track. Didn't lose too much time. I was mistaken.
Easier
now it's 2 laps to
or
go.
harder if you're Jake Worden to have a gap? Is it easier if you just have pressure and you just have to pin it? Or is it easier if you have that gap to rely on, and does that relax you a little bit more?
Personally speaking, I always really felt more at ease when I had a gap and I'd have a spotter say something along the lines of, 9 seconds back to the next spot, because then I don't have to really huck big lines or worry about defending my insides or anything like that. He's really just trying to hold on for 2 laps and ride 2 semi-decent laps at this point. That would be my guess. I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah, so if you make a mistake, I guess, tripling into a rhythm and come up short, you just double up instead of having to try to huck the next 3, something along those lines. You can play it a little safer.
Right.
The white flag is flying right now. Out front, Dickerson leads. DeRocco, Schuler, Worden, top 4. The gap's down to 5 seconds. Jonathan Hughes is on the move. What is going to happen here with 1 lap to go?
Leader down real quick. Dickerson went down and is battling with DeRocco. Holds him off.
DeRocco seems like he might have just gave him back the spot and is going to try to fight back. Here he has the inside set up. Dickerson a mistake.
Oof.
Oh,
looking
Worden
back,
a mistake.
Worden was on the ground.
The rhythm.
Here comes Hughes. Warden's still making mistakes. Hughes triples to the outside, now cuts underneath. He's laying him out. Oh, I thought for sure that was what was going to happen. He really dug it down. Dickerson's down and Hughes is swapping in the whoops. Warden's got to do
comes
something.
Warden
Look at
for the kill.
this. Boom! He lays him off the side of the track. Oh my goodness. Hughes played it nice. Warden said, no thank you. I'm doing it the hard way. And he puts him over the berm. Up front, Rocco makes his first main in almost 6 years. And Warden is going to make his first main of his career with a move that I think a lot of people are going to be pretty proud of, because he wasn't taking any crap from Jonathan Hughes right there. Craig Leak not going to the main event. Gonzalez, French, Usyk, Nielsen, Bear, Model, Cummings, Swigard, Mertens, Gable, Doiron, Deniz, Fowler, just to name a few of the unhappy people here tonight.
So did Hughes make a mistake being too nice and leaving room to not put Warden on the ground because it ended up coming back to bite him?
Well, to be fair, I mean, you definitely, I think, are right that Hughes played it nice in the corner before, but I think he also expected Warden to check up and maybe cut down a little bit, so I think that was going to be a lot dirtier than it ended up being, because Warden played it the right way and stayed as wide as he could. And then, I mean, Warden gave him time to check up in the next corner. It wasn't like Warden just came in from out of nowhere and put him off the track. It was kind of a slow motion incident, but that's LCQ. I mean, if you don't protect your insides, expect to be lit up. It happened last week to Fernando Andrade, and now it just happened to Jonathan Hughes.
Yeah. Lit up like Tupac's blunt right there. All right, we're going 450 LCQ time. Oh, man, I could just do these LCQs all night, I swear. Top 4 go to the main, and we have a stacked field on the gate. Devin Davis, Ryan Mahan, Craig Richards, Garrett Ulver, Dominic Tiberino, Chase Blakely, William St. Laurent, Connor Holyak, Cameron Lee, Dade Honeywell, Eduardo Simonos, Tanner Rogers, Sabrina Ritzler, Jeremy Henners, Josh Williams, Tyler Lang, Jeremy Cohenauer, Tyler L. Schmidt, Andrew Wood, Austin Eklund, Tyler Morin. Round out your field. And here we go again. LCQ time. Survive turn number 1. Survive 4 solid, well, more than 4 solid laps. Yeah, sorry.
4 solid minutes in a lap, huh?
Yeah, something like that. And if you don't, more rage than a D. Davis forum post coming on at you as you sit in the stands watching the main event.
Hey, to be fair, you have to give credit to Devin, who last week had a terrible Anaheim one and kept it clean on the forums. So maybe he's
a little
learning.
maturity coming out of the number 15 machine.
Maybe.
It might not be so friendly this week, though, if he goes 2 weeks in a row without making a main event. Or maybe that took the pressure off. There's no real championship hopes or anything like that after missing the main at round 1, so...
maybe.
Easier.
I don't know. Devin always seems to be, no matter how big the situation or little, the usually gets kind of nervous in these situations, so I guess we'll see, but...
I'm just waiting for him to win one of these dang things, to be honest.
That's true. He's been close on more than one occasion, that's for sure. Either way, it is time for the LCQ in the 450 class. My goodness, this lineup is stacked. Only 4 go to the main. 4 minutes plus the lap set to go. LCQ action in Houston. Good
Devin
job
Davis, a good start
Devin.
from the outside, shuts the door. All the way from the outside. Jeremy Cohenauer was a slingshot out of the gate.
Tanner Rogers in the mix, slides it down and causes a pile-up.
Tiberino as well. Tyler Lang goes into 2. Devin Davis comes out 3rd. Tiberino gets back going in 4th. Rogers and his teammate Tyler Schmidt right there.
And Davis was very aggressive on that start, cutting far over. It almost bit him as he got shoved wide by, I believe, Honeywell on a Husky on the inside. Now he's already under attack from Tiberino, who cross-jumps Rogers and almost takes him with him. And they both go by. That was Lang. Yeah, and Lang gets almost put on the deck by Schmidt. Yeah, Schmidt goes down. Oh, Davis swapping to the finish. Woo! Kept it underneath of him. Alrighty, so let's settle in. Cohenauer from Davis. Rogers down in 3rd, and somehow... Oh, somebody did go down.
St. Laurent gets through. Tiberino gets through. And that was Tyler Lang, who hit the deck. He'd already made a few big mistakes on lap number 1. Finally, one completely bit him, and he's way back now.
Richards mixed in with Tiberino. St. Laurent is right here. Simo's coming from behind. Jeremy Henners is in the background.
Tiberino trying to move forward on William St. Laurent, but he has pressure from the 74 of Craig Richards, who
Devin Davis down in the whoops. Sorry to cut you off, but Davis off the right side of the track. That hands over spots. And he is buried. Oh my, is he buried.
I was actually just going to comment that I felt Davis would be really strong in that situation. He's been in this situation plenty of times. Probably pretty comfortable with it. Now Simo sits on the outside, trying to make the move on Richards, who's all over Tiberino, who's all over St. Laurent. One mistake, and you will probably not be going to the main event if you're in this group. Simos dives to the inside into the sand.
Richards into the bales, almost goes off the track entirely, but is able to corral it. These guys mix together, not too far behind, as Simos elects to go 2-3-2 in this rhythm. And a mistake from St. Laurent there allows Tiberino alongside. He's going to go through as they're trying to run down Kolenauer for the race lead.
I like the strategy for Simos not doing the big line down that rhythm and just waiting for a mistake.
Mertens
he just
down, or Richards, I mean.
And Tiberino gets put on the deck as well. He's not going to fall off the bike.
Here comes Josh Williams, who is sitting on the line in the heat race. Your 250 East reigning champion Connor Holiak is in the mix. Tanner Rogers was top 10 last week as Williams went down. So that is going to allow a couple other riders through. Davis is also right here as Richards got up from his crash, battling with, that is Austin Eklund, and Richards piles into Davis, causing more chaos. Whew, all mixed up in here.
Holiak and Rogers sit 5th and 6th right now, and they're both trying to absolutely throw down heaters to close that gap.
St. Laurent falls to the final transfer spot, as that is now Simos, Tiberino, St. Laurent, and Holiak is coming up from 5th. Ooh, Tiberino across the front of the nose of St. Laurent. St. Laurent getting a little bit of a kick in the whoops. Oh my goodness, Holiak sent it down the left side of the whoops and made up a ton of time.
Yeah, welcome to the party. Connor Holiak is quadding up and about to go into a transfer spot.
Holy moly, Loy's out. St. Laurent.
So Rogers goes through up into the 5 spot as well.
Wow.
Holiak's not done. I don't think he is absolutely shredding.
Rogers does not want to miss the main event after such a solid ride last week either. And Holiak into the bales a little bit. Holiak still making the pressure. Yeah, Rogers tries down the inside, almost pulls alongside. And they both go 3 into the rhythm. Rogers, I thought, was going to go over the bars. Holiak almost over the bars.
The inside.
Rogers! Oh, played it kind of nice.
Yeah, he said, hello, where's Mr. Rogers? But he didn't completely knock the door down.
Yeah.
Gets it shut on his face, leaving the corner. Connor Holiak holds on to the 4 spot. Tyler Lang now giving chase after a great start, falling apart on lap number 1.
Rogers down. Rogers down big time in the whoops. That's probably going to spell the end of his night.
Kolenauer grabs the white flag with the lead. Simos, Tiberino, Holiak, top 4 right now. Tyler Lang slides out in the number 5 spot. Austin Eklund right with him. And that's, I think, going to be the guys that are going to be going for that transfer spot, as everyone else behind them, including Dade Honeywell, Tanner Rogers, have been down and way back. Devin Davis also way back. Don't think we're going to see them fighting to get through this main event.
Simos off track in second, now being pressured by Tiberino. If these guys get together, it could open up a lot of opportunities, especially with lappers kind of coming into the play here as Simos tries to show a wheel at Tiberino, and Holiak slides out in the background. Lang goes through, as does Eklund. Oh man, we're going to see another one of these passes, aren't we?
Here it comes.
Eklund inside, almost puts Holiak on the deck. And who's down at the end of the whoops here? Nobody, as Holiak augers in. Now. Lang is in the final transfer spot. I think he just might hang on, but he's got to hold off Eklund. Eklund sends it, and no, Lang is all over the place. Eklund out of the final corner. Oh, it's over the line. Oh my goodness. Wow, he almost blew it too. He almost crashed. Instead, Lang misses out. St. Laurent sends it over the cameras. Rogers, after a 6th place, I believe, finished last week, not going through. 7th, Honeywell in 8th. Devin Davis, yikes. 2 weeks in a row, Davis not going to the main. I would think he expected a lot more of himself out of this season.
Wow. Absolutely. Wow, a lot of fast guys not even making the main event.
Morin, Richards, Ritzler, Holiak just left it on the track right there. He only has himself to blame. He slid out. He crashed in the whoops. Hinder's also not going through. Oliver, Cameron Lee, Ryan Mahan, Chase Blakely, Tyler Schmidt. I mean, we got two 250 East champions in this one, and neither of them went through it. That is unreal. That's just the kind of action we like to see. It's some MotoOption Supercross, though, huh? Doesn't get much better than those two LCQs.
I love those LCQs. You never know what's going to happen, and it's not over till you're across that line.
Oh man. That gets me all kinds of hype for these main events. 15 minutes plus 1 lap coming up for their 22 of the best 250 West Supercross riders in the world. We'll see what happens. Can Chapman repeat his victory at the opening round, or will somebody else step up? And I'm sure right now Chris is about to take us through a lovely versus PC run through the field. Nope, actually we are in another warm-up lap.
Yeah, we're waiting here to get the main event built. I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and take everybody on a quick little run around the track so you guys can see this track a little bit.
While you do that, I'm going to take a quick break and get myself a little snack.
No problemo. Getting revved up for these main events here, live on SYS TV. Getting passed here by the other guy. This track is challenging though, and like I mentioned, very fast. Very fast track. I can't seem to get myself situated here. Just got a new controller today, and I'm not looking too comfortable on it, am I? So these guys here will go 3 in, 4, and then as you saw in Holiak's case, send it into this corner. And this whoop section before the finish has been tricky all night long. Over the finish line. It's kind of your first look at the track here for some of you. Maybe just watching the stream and haven't played the track yet. This is what it's looking like for these guys out there tonight. So these guys are doing this crazy line of wheeling over this first bump and then tripling into this rhythm, which is very gnarly, and then some of them even quadding all the way into the corner. And it seems like the preferred line here is to go on off, triple out. You can also go single over table, quad, and then double out onto the start straight. Some guys go in first or second gear all the way through this set of whoops, or some guys hitting it in fifth. And like I said, through this rhythm, preferred line is to 3 in, quad, triple out. Whoop. Whoa, Nelly. That is a very rough sketch of a lap here at Houston. Chat looks to be going off. Let's see what's going on in chat. Devin Davis is mad that a road is bad. Maybe he's mad because bad. No, but really, I think a road is working just fine. I have yet to have any problems in the whoops, unlike Devin Davis here is exclaiming. I think most people are doing it all right. Rogue Racing, I don't stream AMs just because there's a lot of work that goes into getting these pro broadcasts out. So, quite frankly, I don't have a whole lot of time to dedicate another whole day into streaming something. So, but I mean, the other guys that stream AMs and the other broadcasters that stream the EU series as well, the Pro Series and the AM Series, I think they do a fine job. So, you know, don't be afraid to check them out too. All right, coming up, 250 West main event action. We're going to load into the parade lap first. These guys are going to go 15 minutes plus a lap. But of course, they're going to do a parade lap first, and Checker's still away from his keyboard, so hopefully I'll load in time to be able to bring you guys a quick rundown of who is in tonight's main event. If you've been here the whole time, you know who's in tonight's main event. But of course, have some new people tuning in just here for the main events right now, letting you guys know what's going on. Load time's fantastic. Only thing I got on my solid state drive is sim and a bunch of skins, and it still takes me this long to load in pretty much every time I time out. Thank heavens nobody has 4K skins in my pack. Alright, let's see who we got lined up on the gate tonight. We have Walter Gebhardt, Logan Leitzel, Chase Donovan, Zoe Cross, Jacob Hubbard, Robert Wilson, Devin Ryan, Colby Eagland, Isaiah Dickerson, James Schuler, Matthias Janis, Jake Rose, Derek DeRocco, Stefan Guido, Sean Klein, Fernando Andrade, Jake Warden, Jordan Moxie, Russ Chapman, Reese Harris, Cody Penwell, and Brandon Hedge. I think I got through everybody. Could be wrong, but I think I got everybody. Here we go. 15 minutes plus 1 lap on the gate. Board is sideways. Time for round 2 of the 250 West season. Houston, are you ready to bring the action? It's go time in the 250 class. Lots of riders hit the gate. Instead, the 58 of Jake Rose is getting to the corner first. Maybe he gets pushed off the track, and Sean Klein comes out with the whole shot side by side with Russ Chapman. Chapman down the inside, takes the lead away. Klein comes back underneath. He's going to try to get the lead right back through this first rhythm section. Side by side, 2 title combatants. Klein wants to cut underneath, but Chapman holds his line. And into the whoops we go. Clean start for the most part, and guys starting to get swapped in the whoops. I think that was DeRocco with a good start out of the LCQ going down in 4th. Oh man, lots of problems, and that allows Brandon Hedge to get up into the mix, but he slides it down, and Eglin goes down. Now Hedge slides all out of shape. He just grabbed a handful and almost went down himself. Russ Chapman leads him through on the opening lap from Sean Klein, though. I think we are about set for a good battle between these two. Klein is going to try to hook onto the back of Chapman here and see if he can't run with him. Chapman was relatively untouchable last week, but I think this week the track a little bit more kind of the same line, same things going on with these two. Klein yet to have won a Supercross race just yet, but he's been very good and obviously had a tremendously good outdoor season last year. Through the whoops, he's got to drive, but he's swapping. Good save. Very good save. That is a tough save to make, especially at those speeds. Klein just hangs on, but now he's jumping off the track. He's going to lose a bunch of time to Chapman there. So here comes Moxie. He's about to get passed by Gebhardt, though, on that Husky, number 31. This guy's getting kicked, that edge of that last whoop right there. So Moxie and Gebhardt, your battle for third on the screen. Gebhardt trying to switch up his lines, almost jumps off the track. 58 of Jake Rose nearly had the whole shot. He's getting into the mix now as Gebhardt shoots for an inside move. And he's going to get it because Moxie went off the track, but meanwhile Jake Rose is going to shoot through the middle. Almost get both of them. Now he's going after Gebhardt. Good mix of guys in here. I'm seeing the 70, I believe, of Schuler also back there on the Team Volcom KX250F. As I'm rejoined by Chris Riesenberg.
Chapman nailed that start. That's what needed to happen, and he's looking good. Sean Klein started to lose touch with him a little bit.
Yeah, looking back to this battle for third still as Rose and Gebhardt are pretty well latched together. Moxie is trying to stick with him. Oh, and Gebhardt.
Yeah, 31 of Gebhardt.
Looks like he may have either lost the front end or just tipped over coming out of the corner, and he loses a couple spots back to 5th. Now Schuler trying to bring Jacob Hubbard with him. So across, and Brandon Hedge has now slid back just outside, or
Jake Rose is down in third, so he's going to drop some spots.
Yeah, he's on the outside of this corner here. Gets going just in front of Zoa Cross here.
That's to drop him to the 7th spot. Cross runs in 8th. His teammate Moto Chase Donovan runs in 9th. And Jake Warden rounds out your top 10 right now.
Got a lapped rider. I believe Reese Harris almost going the wrong way on the track. Nearly clipped Jake Rose. Oh, Moxie down at the end of the long rhythm lane, and guys scattering. Hubbard misses him, Rose misses him, Cross, quadding out. Able to corral his 250F together, though.
Our top 2 starting to separate themselves from Walter Gebhardt, who runs 3rd. He's over 8 seconds behind. Top 2 just definitely taking off right now.
Already into lap traffic, not even 4 minutes into this race. That is Cody Penwell on the right-hand side of your screen that Klein is going by. Klein trying to stick with Chapman, at least hold on to this for a little while. Maybe make Chapman think about it. Hopefully take this thing to the end.
Chapman looking smoother than ice cold Coors Light out there in the lead, though, and if it's anything like round number 1, these guys are in trouble.
Yeah, Chapman, at least in the first round, he had to work for it. Didn't get the best of starts, worked forward, made some late passes, got into the lead. That's why he has the red plate, but right now, he's just adding more fuel to the fire of why he is the best rider in this class. Getting a good start and checking out already. Schuler, Rose, Moxie, Donovan looking for potential battles. Donovan was getting up from a crash and he got passed by a lot of guys. Guido cases the triples, though. Cross squirts around him. Jake Warden's having a great ride in his first main event. And he's battling it out with Guido. Donovan gets up right behind
Devin
him.
Ryan right now.
Yeah. Look at all these guys mixed together here. Great battle. Ooh, Warden showed Guido a little bit of a nudge there.
Wouldn't be the first person he plowed tonight.
No kidding. And get back to that LCQ as Zoa Cross ends up off the track, so all these guys are going to go around him. Devin Ryan is all over the back of BPC's own Colby Eagland, who's also having a really good ride.
We have a change at the front. Russ Chapman continues to lead, but Gebhardt has moved into second around Sean Klein, and they have completely lost touch with your leader, Chapman.
Wow. Klein must have had a fall off then, because...
at 107 lap time last time around, and another mistake right there for Klein. Maybe he was riding the wheels off that number 10 machine to try to keep up with Chapman, and then the wheels completely fell off.
Yeah, he did not look comfortable in the whoops. That was he had a good save early in this main event, but every lap he's gone through so far is getting some swaps, so maybe that's where it all came undone. So coming back to this battle between Devin Ryan and Colby Eagland, this is for 8th on the track, and now they are onto the back of James Schuler for 7th.
And looks like Ryan going up the inside.
Yeah, Ryan gets a nice pass done on Eagland, but they're both going to miss the rhythm section. Reese Harris is down sideways in the rhythm. Gets up right in the middle of this mix. Trying to be a good lapper, tucks to the inside, but almost cuts across the front of Devin Ryan there.
Ryan got some swaps, I think, trying to get all the way to the edge of the track to miss him.
Ooh. Almost contact between Schuler and Harris in the background. Or, I'm sorry, Eagland.
Battle for 4th and 5th is on right now. Hubbard under pressure from Jake Rose.
Schuler goes down and takes just about everybody that was in that battle with them, so Cross came through. Now back up to the battle between Rose and Hubbard. Hubbard getting sketched, goes down. Rose goes through. Hubbard's going to lose a lot of spots.
He's going to get up right in front of this massive group being led by Zoa Cross, Colby Eagland. Matthias Janis makes his first appearance, and then Brandon Hedge. They're all together on the racetrack. That rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, these guys are trying to freight train kind of all together to the front.
We're right at that 8-minute mark of the race.
Cross down. Through. Cross goes down at the front of this group. Eagland and Janis come together. First time we've seen heat race winner Matthias Janis come through. So he must have gotten a horrific start. Now he's just finding his way right to the inside of the top 10.
We have a battle for the lead. Rush Chapman has closed the gap completely on Chapman, who was 108 last time around. And I did notice a little bit of lag down the rhythm section from Chapman. Could be potentially having some internet issues, not getting the triple in there. And here comes Gebhardt.
Yeah, Gebhardt to the lead. Just like that.
Holy crap, Chapman just absolutely shredded the rut across the start into those whoops.
I think Chapman has got a point to prove. Laggy computer or not, he wants to win this main event. And he's trying to get back on Walter Gebhardt here.
Almost pushed the front end, Chapman did. A mistake from Gebhardt, though. Starting to switch up the lines a little bit as the ruts are definitely developing. We're only halfway through this thing. Now Gebhardt looks like he's lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
Different rhythms down the rhythm lane. Gebhardt comes up short on a quad. Into the
Hands
lead,
the lead
Chapman
back over. Yeah, Chapman now out front again. And meanwhile, right behind them is still Sean Klein. He's not too far back, about 3 seconds. So if these guys come together, he's lurking there. Now they're lapping Jake Ward.
Sweet.
Haven't been on board with anybody all night, so let's go on board with Gebhardt here for a lap. Right behind your race leader, Russ Chapman. Gebhardt, little wheel spin coming out of that corner. Able to corral it though.
Definitely getting sketchy using the outside going into the sand right now.
Yeah, but Gebhardt making it work. And he is really hauling. He's right here on the back of Chapman. Gebhardt trying to funnel to that inside rut, which really hasn't developed yet.
Not enough to keep the momentum that these guys are carrying around the corners, that's for sure.
No.
Scrubs it down. These guys are setting a blistering pace, even with the track that's deteriorating underneath them.
Wow. Great onboard action here as Gebhardt lays down nearly his best lap at a 57.5. And they're in the lap traffic. We got a couple lappers getting mixed together. Reese Harris almost comes across the track. And I believe that's the 265 of Monty Wilson right in front of these guys, or the 269, I should say. In front of Gebhardt. And Chase Donovan. No, that's Zoe Cross that they're lapping.
Nice job of these guys, able to pick through all those lappers. I thought it was going to be a catastrophe, especially the pace that they're pushing, but they just breeze right through as they both dive down to that inside line. Gebhardt pushes the front end a little bit.
Yeah, didn't lose too much time though. And he's really, I think, a little bit better than Chapman in the whoops.
Chapman looked so good the first half of this race, had some mid-race mistakes. Looks like he's got it back going underneath it. Gebhardt gets that quad out. Definitely see the mistakes you're talking about from Chapman at the end of those whoop sections, getting a little bit of side to side.
And Gebhardt looks like he's keeping it steady all the way through as he comes up mega short on the triple. Can't forget about Sean Klein though. He's still right there, 5 seconds back of your leader.
Yeah, especially as the track continues to deteriorate, probably going to force some more mistakes.
Gebhardt trying to get his line through this rhythm section. I think if these guys are able to go single over table, quad, double across the start straight, it might be a touch faster. Gebhardt making a mistake. Oof.
Keeps that 31 machine under him. Wasn't pretty, but he got it done.
Yes, he did. That was a disaster waiting to happen. These guys are so good about corralling together some of those really bad kicks. Only a few guys in the world are that good at it.
Oh, Gebhardt getting a little lag again.
Man, there's so much stuff going on inside of the top 10, but this battle up front is just so touch and go.
While you watch
really want to miss it.
Guys here, of course, you can look at the top of the screen to see that rundown at the top of your screen to see where your favorite rider is at. But the action right here, we don't want to miss a pass for the lead as they're coming up on another group of lappers. A mistake from Gebhardt, but also a mistake from Chapman.
Chapman runs wide, and that allows Gebhardt to get right close behind him. He's going to go table over single, but he's not going to get the quad. Still keeps it about the same distance. Oh, and he slides it
out
down.
again. Same spot that he's been making mistakes, and here comes Klein.
Yeah, Klein been lurking this whole time. He's going to go down the middle-ish of the whoops. Gebhardt swapping. Contact!
A lapper takes off right into the side of Klein, pushes him into Gebhardt. All that work Gebhardt's been doing, and now falling apart. He's going to lose touch with Sean Klein. And now it's up to Klein to go after Russ Chapman. 4.5 second gap.
For what it's worth, Walter made a big mistake at the end of the whoops, and I think was going to get into Klein anyway, despite that lapper. Now Klein honestly isn't terribly far.
Down.
Gebhardt off the bike again.
Jake
Rose
down
off the bike. That is going to hand Janice a spot. And Hubbard. Hubbard having a fantastic ride. The 778 Rocky Mountain ATV MC ride.
We were watching the leaders. They were having no problems with these ruts. Go back in the field, and all of a sudden, it's all out chaos.
Yeah.
Kellen's broken loose.
Eaglin goes by Janice. Here comes Moxie. He's trying to bring Zoe across with him.
Our leader is down and off the bike, and we have a new leader coming down the whip section now. It's going to be Sean Klein.
Klein almost went down himself trying to avoid Chapman. Now the pressure shifts to Klein. And he's going to get to the flag before the time runs out, so we have 2 laps to go next time by. And suddenly this race is anybody's game, and it's really Klein's to lose. Chapman coming out of the corner before the finish in the background, and Klein's got a pretty good lead to work with. If he can run the same pace he has been running for these last 7 laps or so, he's got this thing relatively on lock.
Big statement here. He maybe didn't have the speed, but has the consistency part on lockdown. Dealing with a little lapper here. He screws up the tabletop section. That's going to shrink his gap up considerably if Chapman can nail it smoothly.
And Chapman looks like he's on fire right now. He's revved up to try to get to Klein and still win this thing. Whoa, he just rails that rut before the whoops. And he's trying to hug the left side to get as much of a clean run through him as he can, and it worked fantastically. Look at him through these corners right now. And Klein is definitely within sight as Chapman swaps, saves it, and jumps over a lapper that was down anyway. White flag is waving for Klein. Can he hold off the charge from your points leader, Russ Chapman? Klein trying to win his first main event. He slides out. He's going to miss the triple. He has to roll double, and Chapman goes back to the lead, but it is still anybody's race. Oh my, oh my. Klein wants to win his first. Chapman wants to hang on to this points lead. Who's going to get it done? Chapman a little bobble, Klein another bobble as well. Chapman is so smooth on these tables. I think it's going to come down to the whoops. Who's going to get the best run? Who will not fall even? Chapman getting a little squirrely, gets a run through the whoops, but Klein is down in the background. How did he end up there? He must have clipped the bales. This is Chapman's race now, and he knows it. Totally backs out of it and doubles his way through. Nobody to challenge from behind. Chapman has survived. The attacks from Gebhardt, the attacks from Klein. He's going to make it 2 in a row. It's back-to-back wins for Russ Chapman, and he's going to extend his points lead in the 250 West Division. Boy, oh boy, did Klein give it a good run, but second was only thing on the docket for him tonight. Just couldn't quite match the pace of Chapman out front. Gebhardt ends up on the podium. Woo! Chaos indeed. Jake Rose. How about this ride from the 891 of Colby Eagland? I think he's going to hold off Moxie. Rose is coming to the line, so yeah, they're good to go. Moxie settles in behind him. Ooh, Chase Donovan. I believe he got his first career podium in the EU series earlier this week. Backs it up with a very solid finish here in the MXSEMF North America MotoOption Supercross Series 7th. Janice from heat race winner to 8th after a bad start. Jacob Hubbard was inside of the top 5 not too long ago, but I think he can still be quite satisfied with a top 10 performance here in 9th. Last runner coming through. Waiting for cuts. And cuts are in. Top 10 stays the same. 10th was Devin Ryan. 11th Schuler. Guido. Hedge, Cross, Leitzel, Duraco, Wilson, Warden, Andrade, Harris, Dickerson, and Penwell was the 22 riders that made up tonight's main event. 250 West action from Houston. Woo! What a race that 250 main was, and if that was any indication of what we're about to see in this 450 class, somebody better go find a seatbelt and strap themselves into their chair, because this is about to be a wild 450 main event. These guys are going to go 20 minutes plus a lap, but first up, a parade lap, and we will be bringing you guys the rundown of riders in this 450 main event, featuring but not limited to quite a few riders that have not only won races but championships on a premier class level in this game. Oh man, it's only going to get better from here. We saw how deep the ruts were getting in some of those corners too for those 250 guys. The road settings are staying the same and the bikes are getting more powerful and the race is getting longer. So this 450 class might be dealing with quite the racetrack by the end of its main event. All right, just waiting to load in now. Final race of the night from Houston. So glad you guys could again join us here live on SYS TV. Fantastic broadcast numbers in the opening week, and again another solid week this week. Always great to have a lively chat, lively audience, and hopefully I have succeeded in bringing you a lively broadcast. But we still again have one more race to go. And again, it might arguably be the best race of the night. We have got Tony Spinelli, Bryce Whelan, Jeremy Cohenauer, Jack Haley, Jeremy Siebold, Eduardo Simos, Dominic Tiverino, Matt Burkeen, Spencer Turley, Colton Mitchell, Dennis Fjellberg, Jack Haley, I already said, Jeremy Cohenauer, Dominic Tiverino, Jeremy Shipley, Jeremy Smith, Chase DeSalle, Austin Eklund, Jesse Mullins, Holden Coate, Alexis Leclerc, Adam Holm. Who else have I missed in this? James Armstrong, I don't think I said. Eduardo Simos, Bryce Whelan, Kevin Ferzaka, and of course, your four-time and defending Supercross champion, Tyson Fresquez. 20 minutes plus one lap on the line from Houston. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. We are going to be bringing you the action live here on SYS TV. It's round 2 of MotoOption Supercross, live from Houston. Let's drop the gate. A really good start from Fresquez, and he sweeps around with Fjellberg side by side. It's Fresquez 1, Fjellberg 2, and right in the mix with them is Armstrong, I believe, on the 33, 7 of Leclerc, Colton Mitchell, right behind Bryce Whelan. So a lot of your heavy hitters up front as Fresquez gets the whole shot. That's exactly what he wanted. He's going to try to run away with this thing and check out, but he's going to have to deal with heavy pressure as Fjellberg goes down, almost takes Armstrong with him. And then that is Spinelli going down, who definitely took somebody with him. That is Mitchell. Leclerc getting stacked up. Shipley's down with Simos. Oh my, things have shaken up quickly, but it is Fresquez leading from Whelan and Armstrong. Remember, Armstrong was third in the series last year, and he switched his teams, was on Team Volcom, jumps to System Decal. He won a couple races last year as well. He knows what it's like to be teammates with Fresquez. He knows what it's like to beat Fresquez. I think he's going to want to get up there and battle Fresquez, but he's got to get through at least Bryce Whelan, who is stuck on the top of this berm. Armstrong almost jumps off the track. And a battle for second has already begun between a couple of Husky riders, Transmoto's Bryce Whelan and System Decal's James Armstrong. Not too far behind them, I believe that is Chase DeSalle. I could be wrong. See where your favorite rider is scrolling across the top of your screen as Fresquez continues to lead on to lap number 3. Things are starting to spread out behind him. Chase DeSalle is in 4th, and comes Matt Burkeen on the number 8. Turley is being attacked by Jesse Mullins, as well as, I think, yeah, that is Jeremy Smith. Oh, and that is Chase DeSalle down, and everybody and their mother going by him. So we got a mix of riders in here. Mullins is trying to find a way through on Spencer Turley. Turley jumps down the inside of Burkeen, gets stacked up, and he goes down. And here comes a host of riders. Eklund trying to get through. Leclerc's in the mix. Shipley's trying to come through with them. So Mitchell and Leclerc and Shipley are kind of all together after that early fall. Turley block passes Shipley. Look at all the riders mixed in. Some of the most talented riders in this game all locked together in one field on one track. And how about it for Austin Eklund having a fantastic night. He was right in the mix early on in his heat race. Again, having a good start to his main event. We'll see how he can fare staying with these guys throughout the main. But things looking really good for the 85 machine. And Smith, his first race of the season. Obviously, we talked about him being a professional racer in real life. He's going to be racing the 250 East Supercross Championship in real life this year, but he raced a couple rounds in the Dominican Republic at the end of December and at the beginning of January, meaning he missed the opener last week, but trying to get things going, battling it out with his old nemesis, Jesse Mullins and Matt Burkeen, as Smith makes a gnarly save, but and he ends up going down at the bottom of the scorer's tower anyway. I don't know how he was going to save that. Leclerc legs off, cases the triple in, and here goes Shipley, Mitchell, Fjellberg, and 1,000 Suzukis, including Adam Holm. And here is the first sign of your points leader, Jeremy Siebold, as Haley gets stuck in the corner with Eklund. Leclerc tips over and falls off the bike. So how far can Siebold get going forward after his win at the opener? We've got Jeremy Smith just getting off the deck out of a corner, side by side with Siebold, who also had to roll. They got jumped over by Farzaka, and Spinelli is in the mix as Farzaka goes. How did Farzaka save that? And Smith gets sent off the track. Or I'm sorry, Smith sends Siebold off the track. Where is all this chaos coming from? These guys, it's just calm down, everybody. Oh my goodness. And these guys are all still mixed together. Spinelli now trying to go after Shipley. Shipley going after Fjellberg. A lapped rider is in between him and Holm. Let's go up front and kind of reset things here as we have a change for the lead. Bryce Whelan is now leading this thing. Whelan from Fresquez and Armstrong, so a little bit of a shift as Whelan and Fresquez change positions, but Mullins and Burkeen are coming. We have got 5 riders, all capable of winning, all prior winners in this class actually, battling it out front right now, and not too much time separating them. Whelan trying to sprint away, though he definitely has the sprint speed to do it. Fresquez has the longevity and skill set of a champion to take this thing the whole distance, so as Armstrong slides out, almost takes Mullins with him, and Burkeen also slides through. Whew. You can see Turley and Tiberino and Holm coming up in the background, and still that freight train of guys behind that all mixed together as Mullins and Burkeen trying to work together to go forwards. Now Fresquez looks like he's got a little bit of speed coming to him as he's trying to run down Whelan for the lead. All this mixing around going on out front, I definitely don't want to miss it. But I also don't want to miss all that crazy action that we saw further back, as now Tiberino's going to work on Turley. This is for the 6th spot as he shoots down the inside, goes for the quad, gets the pass on Turley, and somehow is able to slow that Versus PC FAMMX TBR Suzuki down for the corner. So Turley slips back. Holm is now going to be pressured soon from Mitchell, who's gapped himself away from that large group of about 6 riders that are still locked together. Holden Code has come forward. Farzaka is now at the front end of the group as Leclerc is trying to pressure him, and contact between Spinelli and Haley as Smith splits him on the right, Shipley splits him on the left, and that is also your points leader Siebold coming through, passing the inside of Smith with Fjellberg also locked in behind him. I mean, this class is that stacked, ladies and gentlemen. You can go from top 5 to 15th real quick. And look at all these guys that are still back here. I mean, we have got a ton of past champions battling it out outside of the top 10. All 3 of these guys are former 250-something champions. Fjellberg, 2014 250 outdoor champion, and Seabolt and Smith, both two-time 250 Supercross champions respectively. And all these guys still locked together. This is a battle for 13th on the track, and these guys are going at it. Are you kidding me? And inside goes Spinelli, gives Smith a little shoulder check. Couldn't quite make the pass happen though, and they are still tailing Shipley. Leclerc is 11th. Tiberino inside of the top 10. Holden Coates going to make the pass on Adam Holm as Holm cases onto the back of that was Colton Mitchell down, and Leclerc runs into him. Tiberino goes down. Holm just getting up, so Leclerc gets like a 3-for-1, goes into 7th. And there's still riders going down behind him. Let's head back up front for a moment and see what is happening. Whelan and Fresquez still 1 and 2. This 450 main event is the main event that I feel will just keep on giving. Mullins is trying to stick with these guys. Talked a lot about in the preseason how Mullins really wants to try to improve his Supercross game, take it to Fresquez. He only has 3 career Supercross victories to his name. Obviously, his outdoor skills have proven time and time again that Mullins is one of the best players this game has ever seen. The only 3-time North America outdoor champion. Oh, and we got a lapper here. That is Simos on the 80 just getting up. Man, these guys are all running such similar pace. Let's take a look at the lap times. 58.5, 57.3, and a 56.4, but all of them can dip into the 55s. Fresquez at a 54 actually seems to have the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Yeah, let's actually go on board with Mullins as he runs in 3rd. You can see these lines starting to develop, a road really taking its toll on this track. You can see how deep some of these ruts in these corners are getting. And I feel like the skill set of these riders in comparison to the 250 class is really showing how well a track can erode in when ridden properly. These guys are able to really kind of get through these corners real smooth still. Look at how deep some of those ruts are coming through that corner though. I'd imagine that end of the sand section is going to be real chewed up as Mullins cases the triple in right there. And we have a change for the lead. Fresquez got Whelan up front. I just missed it. So Fresquez on Whelan. Can Whelan fight back though? That is the question. We know he has the sprint speed to keep up with Fresquez. It's more of a longevity question. Both these guys casing the triple in. Whelan actually has to check up in double, so Fresquez is able to pull out a little bit. But Whelan gets a couple clean lines out, closes back in. They are lapping Kohenauer, and soon to lap your opening round winner Seabolt is next. Fresquez tucked inside and took a really unorthodox line. Whelan swung around the outside and almost got the pass made, but then cased the triple. I think checking up for Fresquez there. Look at how deep those rollers are coming through. Fresquez another bobble and just barely gets the triple in clean. Whelan is applying the pressure, but he's doing it at a cost, and here comes Jesse Mullins. A 3-rider battle up front is really brewing here. Fresquez, Whelan, and Mullins. Could come down to some lap traffic though, seeing some guys getting a little sketch in front. And Fresquez makes a bobble, and he's down with the lead. He pile drives the jump, and that allows Mullins through for the lead. A 2-for-1, but he cases it as well. Mullins to the front. Whelan is still in 2nd, despite momentarily taking over the lead. And now Fresquez dealing with Armstrong making the pass for 3rd. And Burkeen still in the mix right there in 5th. I want to keep with this battle up front though, because I think Whelan is a little bit tired of being behind somebody. He wants to get this lead back. It looks like as they run, Whelan would be your points leader leaving, so I guess he might also be playing this a little smart, not trying to crash out of a good position. Ooh, riders down. That was Tiberino mixed together with, I think, Chase to Sell as it allowed Mullins to gap out quite a bit. I think Mullins went inside and still tripled out of the corner. Whelan made a big mistake. Holden Cote is, pardon the pun, holding his own in 6th right now. Leclerc is 7th. Smith coming through in 8th. Adam Holm has dropped to 9th. Spinelli is all over him in 10th. And then Colton Mitchell is 11th. Turley looks like he just went down in the background in 12th. So yeah, he hands over that spot to Frazaka. Shipley goes through. Turley all the way back to 15th on 1 tip over. Yeah, these ruts are really wearing in, but they're wearing in so smoothly. These guys are still able to rail them really cleanly. Ooh, rider down, Simos. Spinelli has to split him. He's bringing Colton Mitchell with him. Holm is still trying to keep tabs on Smith in front of him. And guys are starting to explore outside of that deep sand line. Oh, quad to the inside for Spinelli, and he gets the pass done on Holm momentarily. That pass will stick. Really bold strategy there as Spinelli gets it done. Now he's going to have to cut down to the right side of the whoops and try to hang on. Mitchell's trying to come through the middle as Spinelli jumps off the right side of the track. Holm goes back through, and Mitchell trying to come through as Spinelli then tucks in behind, and Mitchell cases the triple in. I have to imagine that rut coming out of that corner is just getting too deep for these guys as Burkeen goes around Armstrong, and Mullins is still leading this thing. Fresquez laps Fjellberg. How about we go on board with one of these two after they sort out who's in front of whom as Armstrong cuts underneath. Be on board with Burkeen here. Look at how deep some of these ruts are getting in the corners. And the whoops are, I feel like, holding on pretty well. Burkeen really chopping the throttle through there. But here's where I'm curious. Look at that line coming out. It's dug in deep enough that these guys are really struggling on triple in. And Burkeen gets the quad and just jumps right by Armstrong. Almost clipped his shoulder going by now. Armstrong trying to fight back underneath. Fjellberg getting lapped by them. Almost getting landed on. Yeah, this road is dug in real deep. These guys are... Oh, Burkeen swaps and down he goes big off for the number 8 machine. Here comes Leclerc. He might get there just onto the back wheel of Burkeen now. So now he falls into a battle with Leclerc, and Smith is trying to come with. Siebold joining us in chat now, so he is out of tonight's main event. Your Anaheim 1 winner. Look at this battle between previous champions. Look at Burkeen almost got that line of the table over the single and got Leclerc back nearly. And Smith just trying to be consistent, trying to get into this mix. Wants maximum points, which he did not obviously get any at the opening round, so he's trying to make those back, and he jumps the quad past Burkeen. Next up, Leclerc. Man, that rut coming out of the corner is getting deep. These guys are kind of struggling to get that 450 to dig in and power over the triple. We got really 2 lines developing through the sand now, where you can jump to the inside. There's a rut there. There's an outside entering and then an inside exiting and an outside line that's developing on the exit. And these guys are kind of breaking up just a little bit now. Burkeen maybe closer to Smith, but there's that line again. Didn't quite get the quad though. Whelan has not let go of Mullins just yet. He is close. Obviously not close enough to quite make a pass or anything along those lines, but gotta keep Mullins a little bit honest here. And we still have about 3.5 minutes plus a lap to go, so nothing is written off just yet. Now Whelan trying to explore a 3rd line on the bottom of that corner. That's how deep these ruts are starting to get dug in through some of these corners. This corner is still holding on nicely, and Whelan rides the edge of that rut. Oh, but he's down. Cases the quad. And Fresquez, if he can stay on 2 wheels, is going to go through. So Fresquez back into 2nd. Lapped rider of, I believe, Tamarino just went down in the whoops. Oh, Fresquez gets hung up in the berm, and Whelan goes back through. So now Mullins has quite the sizable lead to manage here. Mullins had a horrendous opening round, complained infinitely about the erode being terrible, needs to be changed. This round has arguably deeper ruts and lines developing and in multiple areas, and Mullins seems to be doing better with it, so obviously must have changed some things in the week, the off days there. Get a little bit more accustomed to it as Fresquez trying to work the outside on Whelan. Whelan's going to try to shut the door, keeps that low line, but Fresquez around the outside makes the pass happen in the second he goes. So Fresquez and Mullins both having much better second rounds, but Whelan goes back through again. Whelan is going to leave here, your points leader, whether he finishes second or third, especially with Seabolt now out, Leclerc behind him. Leclerc on the podium last weekend. Shipley was in fourth as Fresquez loses the front end in that deep rut and just continues to struggle over the triple. Armstrong and now Smith has worked his way up inside of the top 5. That is Fjellberg a lap down behind him, so Burkeen's kind of imploded a little bit. Leclerc has gone through, and Burkeen goes back to 7th. Oh, Burkeen having to really huck that triple. Holden Code has been really doing a good job hanging inside of the top 10, but he's slipping back just a little bit. Now has Colton Mitchell trying to maybe pass him here. Mitchell just forced his way around Eduardo Simbos, who is making life a little tough for him. It's like Mitchell seems to be the quicker of the two here. Might be just a matter of time before he finds a way through. Both these guys kind of funneling into the same lines there as Coate makes a big mistake. He has a nice save, but he relinquishes the spot to Mitchell. We're coming down to the end of the time at the top left here, and now Mitchell makes a mistake of his own, and Colt just scoots right back on by. Now Coate almost lays it down, somehow slides out of that rut. Going back up front, Mullins. And Fresquez and Whelan are actually closing 3 seconds back of Mullins, and Mullins is not going to get to the line before time runs out, so white flag next time by, and lappers are starting to become a little bit of a factor. Fresquez gets around Chase DeSalle, white flag in the air here at Houston. Kevin Frizaka also trying to get out of the way as Fresquez goes through. He can see Mullins. He has just got to get to him, and Chase DeSalle trying to unlap himself, and in the process, Fresquez trying to avoid him goes down, and it allows Frizaka to hit him, and then, Whelan gets in the way, so all that started because Chase DeSalle wanted to unlap himself, and now Jesse Mullins has clean sailing to the checkered flag here. Nobody looks like he is going to get challenged from anywhere. Yeah, he looks to be good to go. He's just got to make it through this last rhythm, which doesn't look easy. But he makes fine work of that. Gets around his lapped rider teammate, Eduardo Simbos, and Jesse Mullins has done it. Second round of the season in. He has fought off the Erode Demons. Jesse Mullins is your winner at Houston in the 450 class. Fresquez, valiant effort, comes out second. Armstrong looks to have gotten Whelan for the podium. That should not change the fact that Whelan would still leave with the points lead. Armstrong in third, Smith actually fourth, so Whelan fifth. I think still leaves with the points lead though. Burkeen has moved his way back into sixth, so he got around Leclerc, and Leclerc is going to get seventh, matches his number. Yeah, I think Whelan leaves with the points lead anyway. Shipley's behind him, Leclerc is behind him. I mean, Fresquez and Mullins were 9th and 11th respectively. Solid ride for Holden Coate to end up in 8th. Almost got passed by Holm there at the line. Colton Mitchell, another top 10 performance, and given his injuries, that's Nothing to be sad about, I would feel. Holm actually did get around Coat at the cuts on the line there, but it is Jesse Mullins, your winner here in Houston. What a main event that was. Very entertaining at the beginning, almost entertaining at the end. Things got a little dicey with a couple lappers, but still good to see some great battling, and Mullins comes out on top. So unofficially, it looks like Whelen will head into Anaheim 2 next week with the red plate. And also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, next week at Anaheim 2 is the first round of the Triple Crown. 3 main events in both classes next week, and that's going to be very exciting to watch. Of course, I hope you guys will join us then. But again, thanks to all of our lovely sponsors here. A huge shout out to versuspc.com. Head over there for all your PC needs. Get a custom build or any parts that you need. They help us out huge here at Start Your Systems, and come on as a broadcast sponsor this year, so can't thank them enough. But also, of course, the regular Race Factory game, or I'm sorry, the MXSEMF sponsors as well. MotoOption, MotoOption Supercross Series, Race Tech Suspension, FamMX Designs, MXS Servers, and everybody that helps out with this series. Can't thank everybody enough. But we're going to head out here tonight. Another race in the books. Houston down 2 in the books and 15 still to go. Anaheim 2 coming up next week. The opening round of the Triple Crown Series. So for Kellen Brauer here on Start Your Systems and Chris Riesenberg alongside me, I hope you guys had a wonderful evening, and we'll see you guys next week at Anaheim. So long for now.